and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
You guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
Whoa, what's up, boys? Banger.
Lock in. Lock in.
Josh has the notepad out. Got to get mine out here too. It's too big for my desk. I need to get a smaller one. I used to have a little handheld one that I used. I'll show you guys the reference. This little guy right here, much easier. And now I got this big one because I filled
the old Zoom notepad, eh? That's interesting.
Man. Gotta love it, dude. It's perfect size. This big one takes up my whole desk, but we'll be taking a lot of notes today. We got the ICM run crew coming on, giving us a quick update. Should be a really fun show because then we're going to go right through and speed run a bunch of the ICM run ecosystem. So we've done interviews with most of these guys. I think all of these guys actually at this point. So we're not going to do full interviews, kind of just getting them in, seeing what they're seeing at a ground level on the floor, and then quick little update on how the business is looking or how the state of the market is. So hearing from...
Yeah, I think Tri-Alley app is new.
Well, that's a little bit of alpha. You guys will be hearing for the first time about Tri-Alley app, actually.
I know Dapital is doing their pre kind of testing. There might be opportunity for you guys to get some try that product out. What's Tessera doing these days?
Well, Tessera, you know what? And I'll pull this up. I'm going to reference this again later. Tessera, and I saw Steven had made this post. So I'm assuming it's Steven that's going to be coming on today, but I'm not actually sure. He's typically doing the representing for Tessera on these shows. But let's see. Turn your notifications on in the next couple of days for Tessera PE. Now, remember, they released SpaceX, 800 billion valuation. Since then, it's assumed that this is going to be IPOing at 1.75 to $2 trillion. So it's been an incredible cook. Shout out to the Sarah team. I got in, at the 800 billion level with them when they released this. So that was nice. Dude, okay, Josh, I got to get something off my chest here. And maybe Steven is watching. The guys, when we first interviewed them back at Met Dobby, they were under the impression, and because Steven even brought it up the last time too, that I had invested early in like either Kalshi or whatever it was. I'm going to come out. I didn't get an early investment in the private equity rounds of Kalshi. I simply had a voice crack when he was talking about the Kalshi private equity round. So I went like this, kind of letting him know I got a voice crack. And he took that as, oh, good for you. You got in the round. And I just didn't have the heart to say it. I didn't really even connect the dots until recently. And I'm like, man, they probably think I just have to.
They think you're a big deal, but in reality, you're just a live stream host.
I'm just an idiot, dude. I'm just a freaking idiot.
No, yeah. Hey, good cook. I mean, 2x on that. I think that was a pretty good opportunity in hindsight. I think the arbitrage there is just people didn't know what the model was. But
it was a very free opportunity. I mean, I called it out publicly, called out on my Telegram. Good on them though. Like, also just curious to hear, like, man, when Tessera started, and even probably before when Tessera was an idea, like, we weren't seeing a lot of this. Now we're seeing this sector, this vertical completely blow up. I'm trying to get them the stream instance here. So give me a sec. Yeah, we've seen this narrative completely blow up, and pre-IPO stocks going crazy. So there's a huge market, and everyone's trying to get a piece of the infra. I'm going to ask them if they're raising anytime soon. I know they're going to consensus, so a good time to chat. But I would say if they wanted to go and raise right now, they could probably get some pretty significant checks because everyone's looking to get a piece of this stuff. But yeah, so I'll keep walking you guys through the flow here. I will pull up the MCG account because we have the flow. And then of course we're just going to chat, yap with you guys, the usual, cover what's on the market. There were some pre-sales that launched recently, did really well. What's it called? I'll get to those in a second. But yeah, so again, try Ali app coming on. First time we're hearing about this from Mercy. We're going to get an update on ICM run in general, just what's going on. I know the community is curious and asking. Got Dapital coming on after that. Of course, Josh said they're kind of in their testing mode. They're in their beta mode. I got to apologize to that team too. I meant to test it out like they requested. I've just been swamped. Josh going to test. Dominion Market coming on as well. Going to talk about their recent raise, how that's been doing. I know they were looking to list on the stock market, I believe. So just seeing the Canadian stock market. So seeing how that's going. Bank with Vail, any updates there? Again, pretty cool product. Last time we had them on, of course, Tessera talking about the private equity market explosion recently, and then Go Save app when we had on not long ago as well to talk about some of the savings you can make on all sorts of different things. So pretty stacked schedule.
I got something new to share. So actually, a little bit of lore here is I used to be in this community called Code back in the day, and the token was Kin. And the lore here is that the founder of what's now called Flipcash, his name is Ted Livingston. He created Kik Messenger back in the day, and they had 300 million users. They were the first messaging app outside of BlackBerry Messenger.
Some diabolical things happen on Kik, man.
And diabolical things. And it was out there before an app that was also in the BlackBerry App Store back in the day called WhatsApp. And WhatsApp went on to be a huge success, and Kik got kicked off the App Store was the story. Long story short, Union Square Ventures is a part of this, which is Fred Wilson's VC, Balaji at Coinbase. Both Anatoly and Raj are venture investors in the parent company here, along with some really stacked funds. So really big backing. These guys were the first to build an L2 on Solana, and they were also the first to have a token on Solana that migrated to Solana, which was Kin back in the day in 2019. And there's some funny screenshots of us, getting on developer calls and meeting Raj and Anatoly before Solana's testnet even existed. So a lot of lore there. They are finally live with this really novel new experience, digital cash experience. And what they have, which is unique, is this patent on this digital dollar bill. And I'll show you the app. This is what the app looks like. It's literally, and the website's lagging my screen a little bit, but it's literally just a scanner here. And then if I give money, so it's funny, if someone tries to scan this, they'll get $1. This is a $1 bill right here.
Go
And
scan, scan.
I can actually hand that to Dom if Dom had the app. I can also send it as a link. So it's a really good consumer experience. I have videos of me playing around with this back in the day, which are really, really cool.
Now, is this for peer-to-peer transactions, or could this be used as for commerce?
So right now it's mostly for just peer-to-peer. So I could be like, hey, I'll hand you $5 or whatever. And, I hand you $5. But they have this now, this play on the bonding curve based on Bitcoin's, emission, or not Bitcoin's emission, Bitcoin's total supply of 21 million. And it has this kind of interesting bonding curve. Long story short is this got onto the radar of Zinc last night. And one of the tokens, the first token on there, ripped from like a 300K market cap to like $6 million in,
Zinc
like
is in the trencher.
The trencher Zinc. I don't know how he found out about it. But anyways, he figured it out. They have this stable coin called USDF. So USD Flip Cash, which is actually Coinbase's white label stable coin. And so Coinbase is the liquidity backing behind all these currencies launching on here. So long story short, I think this is something worth keeping an eye on because, the Solana founders are investors here, and Ted is, an OG in Solana, the first really to embrace Solana outside of, the core founders.
And we're not talking Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, are we?
No. Ted Livingston. So anyways, go do your own research on Flipcash. Go download the app. The only way you can buy it is you download it, you connect it to your Phantom on your mobile wallet. So you need Phantom Mobile with some USDC, and then you can connect and buy the tokens through that. And
so it's a
really cool experience.
So, okay, so they're also launching tokens. So it's a sort of a launch pad as well as a peer-to-peer application.
Right. So the peer-to-peer cash concept is purely through these community coins. So think about like how Printer's been successful, just building these community coins on a launch pad. Problem with that is, like, honestly, these mechanics are so well known that they get like bundled, and these launches kind of get vamped in a way. Whereas what's interesting with Flipcash is there's no bundling here. Like, it's not on ICM. It's not on any of these scanners. You have to literally go in through the app, and each incremental buy is on that curve. And then you can model out, well, if 1,000 people or 500 people or 1,500 people buy with an average amount of $50, it models what the market cap is. 21 million total supply. And so, yeah, very interesting. This is fresh kind of stuff.
I'll kind of parlay that into if you guys saw Kobe and Thread Guy did a scrim the other day. Great conversation. Kobe had a lot of really, I think, wise things that he said. I'm not going to go through and name them off, but this is an interesting mechanism. And one thing that I've had a lot of experience doing is when there are these unique mechanisms in the market that people haven't really seen, or it requires some sort of barrier of entry. There's a bit of friction. You have to go download an app and buy through the app, whatever it is. Typically, I shouldn't say typically, but there's a lot of outsized gains to be had for taking those extra steps a lot of the time. We saw this back in the day with I'm trying to remember some of the names. There was like a period of time where we had a couple apps we had to download. It wasn't the traditional bonding curve that everyone was used to, and those that were early just ate. Let me.
I actually have a video example of the core product. So this was from back in the day. This is 2024. Me showing this off. So I'll just play this video.
No way.
And this is me playing around with it. So to give you context, they created these things called tip cards. So this here is a little tip card. It's the same kind of QR code. So what I do is actually can scan this card and then give whoever's tip card is, it's their X handle there, I can give the money. So let's watch this.
Here's a video of Abe's tip card, and what's really cool about this is
that the screen's like
screen's
this is X video from like 2 years ago. Let's see if I can refresh.
It might not work for you. But I'm interested to see, like, they should definitely be getting into the QR payment niche. I mean, that thing's blowing up.
These guys have a
Here's
patent on a
video of
digital dollar
tip
bill.
card. And
Oh my goodness. Oh, here we
what's
go.
cool is my
So here's
phone
me
is pretty
scanning
far
it.
away from my laptop, but you can
So again, that
zoom
tip
it
card,
in
keep in
and
mind,
pull
that's on a
that tip
screen,
card
and
right
then
onto your
it pulls
phone,
it onto my
and then
phone,
say how much you're gonna
and then I
tip
can
that
give them
user.
at the time it was kin,
And
but here it
Abby,
pulls in
there
the
you are.
user's
There's your
X,
profile.
and then I swipe that, and
There's
I'm
your
giving them
dollar.
$1, and this is settling on
I mean,
Solana
that
on a
is
layer
literally
2.
the best
It's instant. Like, it
experience
literally is instant. On
sending
their
money
end,
with crypto.
they get a little vibration on their phone of that
Here's
payment.
a
So
video
this at the
of
time
a
was
card
with
right onto your
kin. You can
phone.
see the $0 a kin there, which was the first SPL, like the first SPL token out there. And so anyways, long story short, now they have a launch pad for community tokens, and go try out Flipcash.
Track them.
It's really, keep an eye on this, guys. This is a really interesting. The Solana founders are involved here. I think this could get the
Flipcash.
Solana retweet at some point. So just
I'm
keep
going
that
to.
in
Well, why don't
mind.
we get him on the show, Josh? Why don't we start?
Dude, I mean, of course, I will be getting them on the show. So,
Perfect.
and this will be great because, Dom, you can download Flipcash, and you could literally hold up your phone and pull the dollar bill onto from your phone, from my phone to your phone, off the live stream, and it'll instantly transfer. Like, it literally is the most magical experience when you experience it. So anyways, guys, Flipcash, clip that segment, and
we'll check it out. GMCG. Let's see, guys. Johnson, GICM, how we doing? Andrew Seb, the GOAT. My GOAT right there. GICM, my other GOAT. Chill, GMCG. Of course, the GMCG's got to come through. What's up, boys? Excited for today. Yo, Josh, got to address the elephant in the room, right? And by the way, shout out that Flipcash. I am following it. Not sponsored, no affiliation there.
Not sponsored, no affiliation. I do own some of the tokens on the platform, though. I bought them this morning.
This guy's a proper trencher, ain't he? Now, I will say you were using it. When I saw the Android, I instantly had to kind of invalidate your thesis, but I'm going to let it slip this time. This is the elephant in the room, boys. Josh, you saw this? We have Pastor Neck.
Dude.
We have Pastor Neck. This guy comes in here, takes a couple $100 million, and then goes and strangles his woman, dude. Allegedly. Don't hit me with a defamation case there. Justin, Believe That founder Ben Pasternak arrested for strangulation and criminal assault. I saw this. I'm like, okay, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like, someone's posting this to launch a coin and farm fees or farming engagement. It's a joke. I went on the Reddit. I'm like, okay, this Reddit must be fake. Then I went to the actual, New York site, and it's there. This ain't no joke. Ben Pasternak is legitimately getting hit with a strangulation charge. So, thoughts and prayers for Evelyn Ha, whatever she's going through. I know Avi's looking out for her too. Hit her in the DMs. If you need someone to talk to, please let me know. So sorry for what happened with Ben. Super fucked up. It goes down in the DMs. It goes down. Wow. I don't even know. What do we think about this? I wonder what the sentiment market is. And I'm stealing this.
Yo, what's the sentiment market on Believe for Pasternak?
Now, this would be a good test of the model, because I have a feeling the sentiment for Pasternak right now is probably still hovering around the same point it was like 4 months ago, completely disproving the model. But if the sentiment for Pasternak is at rock bottom, could be a good long. Could be a good Pasternak long on the Believe, the new Believe app. Joking.
He'll get bail. He'll get bail with his millions of dollars. They just don't accept USDC though.
Do they accept Believe token? He's got a ton of that, I think.
Yeah.
With all those buybacks.
Actually, can you pull up is the Believe chart even still existing? Like, is there?
So I don't know. Is it Pasternak now? Is it Believe or Pasternak or?
Go search the ticker on Dex. See if it's out there.
Yeah. Okay. Here. I'll give it a little look. See, why not? This is. I think this is the one people tried to CTO at some point. Yep. So not Believe. Yeah. I think it'll be Pasternak. Let's see. And I'm on Dex. Okay, perfect. It's on the screen. Pasternak. All right. Looks like nothing.
Oh my goodness. Look at that TA from back in the day. Oh boy.
Yeah. I definitely was never long this. So I'm not sure what this means.
This guy's doing TA on
60K shitter. That's hilarious. No, so let's do. We got 5 minutes before we get Mercy coming up here to just give you guys a scoop on ICM. Karma, dude, literally. Someone said in one of the private chats that Tuna should come on because Tuna's releasing this jail.fun game or has a jail.fun game. He said you should put Pasternak in it, with Diddy, and I think there was like Trump in there. I was like, dude, Tuna might be joining Pasternak soon enough in jail at this rate. I
Oh my
abandoned his
gosh.
token after screaming the Ponzi and like everyone loves Ponzi. Like that was this whole thing, and he's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that is karma. But look, I don't know the situation. Not trying to get hit with the defamation case. Nonetheless. But yeah, Mercy coming on in 5 minutes. Let's see. I'll talk about Met real quick. We'll talk about a couple charts, maybe a quick macro TA, and then we'll hop into ICM.run because we're coming on time here. Meteora had an insane pump yesterday. As you guys know, I've been vocally long with size from like 0.13.
Yeah, you bottom this.
Bottom ticked it. I'm happy with this. I was not expecting this to go 100% here in the following like 2 weeks or 1 week of this. Right. So, get in at like 0.13. I think I was like right around here. Up 30%, 85% at the highs. I don't know what this price action is. I'm wondering if there was some sort of Jane Street situation where people are buying up or they hold a ton of supply. They buy it up, then they go to a platform wherever it trades with leverage and put a leverage short in and then unload their positions and kind of get exposure on both sides. And, we've seen this classic tactic. Of course, like Jane Street notoriously does this, and they do this with like big markets. But Meteor nonetheless is pumped, and I think it deserves to be pumping. Hopefully we go higher from here. Not going to bore you guys with my thesis, but you understand thesis comes down to Meteor is literally building the infrastructure for everything right now. Frey, GICM, man, what's going on, buddy? Hopefully we get to talk to you today. I'm wondering if you're going to be up here because I see that the Alley app only follows 2 people, one of which is Frey. There's a little bit of alpha for you. So maybe we get Frey up here to enter, say a word or two. But
yeah, good trade on this. Great trade on this.
Yeah, idea being here is Meteor is the underlying infrastructure for pretty much everything emerging on chain right now, from pre-IPO to RWAs to launch pads to ICM. It's like if any of this stuff wins, Meteor comes out on top. So that's
go one down on your list. Pumpcade.
Yeah, another one I've been watching. I was very interested in the mechanisms here.
17 mil.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's tough because no one really knows the valuation that the investors got in outside of the investors. But again, I threw that 20 number out there as like an interesting number to be watching. Dude, people are hating on Pumpcade, and I'll tell you what, I see a common trend. Everyone hating on Pumpcade has something in common, and it's a major bag bias. Okay, it's either someone holding ecosystem tokens on their favorite launch pad, or it's something of the sorts, right? But Pumpcade's introduced a very interesting model and dynamic here, and I think at the very least people can take it for what it is and respect that. So Pumpcade's interesting. Again, watching this at 20 million just to see if like there's actual interest from liquid funds and funds to buy this token and convert to those safe notes. So interesting stuff here. It is 12:30. We can keep going, waiting for Mercy to join. I see Steven in there. We kind of like this was kind of planned last minute. I let the ICM run team kind of take the planning on this. I think the flow is just going to be have the ICM run team come in, give us some updates, and just like quick updates with everyone, 10, 15 minutes a pop. I see Steven's here. I'm not going to jump the gun with it. I think we have to say again.
We'll do Steven. Don't worry. We'll let you know.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. All good.
But yeah, that's what's going on. Otherwise, let's just do a quick checkup on Bitcoin in the meantime until Mercy joins
Steven,
up.
go do your thing. We have Mercy first anyways.
Yep. Again, if yeah, just do your thing. So here's Bitcoin. You guys know my positioning on Bitcoin. Been long and strong here on this dip. Tweeted day of saying that might be the capitulation. Also had, wasn't my only call out for bottom. I called potential bottom here. This obviously rolled over, but now we're in a much more interesting zone. Bitcoin is trending up. I like what I'm seeing here. A weekly close above this wick would be really, really nice. We are starting to fill this big down move. So it is in the territory where I would be cautionary about going long from here because we could roll over, test, and see if supply steps in and wants to take it further. But we have had a really nice bounce. Again, I said I want to see Bitcoin sideways or going up for a couple of weeks or a couple of months before you typically see everything else like the onslaught follow suit. So Bitcoin's looking solid.
And before we ping over to Mercy, we have to do a quick hype check-in. nice spot here. I still said in 60 days from the beginning of April. So I have another 40 days that this would hit all-time highs. So I do anticipate it hitting all-time highs in the next 40 days.
Yeah,
Just saying.
incredible things going on right now. You look at the top revenue generators on chain. And I know hype's not on Solana, and some of the ones I'm not going to name are, but blockchain's starting to get used for some very interesting things. Obviously, you have Hyperliquid really contributing a lot in terms of like bringing in revenue every single week and month. You also have like prediction markets pulling in a lot of revenue, and now recently, like lots of gotcha with cards pulling in a ton of revenue. It's interesting to see the diversity
Can
popping
we
up
pull,
on chain.
and before we pivot to ICM run, we got you guys in 1 minute here. Can we throw open cards real quick?
Yeah, let's do cards.
This was a good cook off our stream, guys. We had him on, I believe it was April 6th or something like that. And at the time, the news of $20 million in weekly revenue wasn't out yet in the sphere, and it was on MCG. He said he had 20 million. The tweet notes got around, and then a couple weeks later, Game and others started to catch on to that this was a serious business, really, really growing quickly. And it ran from 8 mil to like, I don't know, something decent.
Yeah, it did a cool 150%. The issue with this was we didn't get an answer on the cards token and like how that's gonna be really further utilized. Undeniably, incredible platform generating a ton of revenue plus EV for traders. Like they built something really interesting here. Of course, that's because they sourced their cards in bulk at a significant marginal discount. But didn't get a real answer on what the token did. Nonetheless, we'll see them at Coliseum. We'll definitely get another update on this, but interesting nonetheless. I digress. It is now time for the ICM.run community update. We got like the entire ego coming on. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Mercy himself. You guys know him. Doesn't even need an introduction, but I got to give him an introduction. Someone that's been in the space forever, been building for so long, has taken all these teams under his wing, giving them their help and support. People love him. Mercy, how are you doing?
I'm good, boys. Good. Yeah. Honestly, markets are slow, but innovation's still happening on chain.
Still heating up. No,
I definitely is. Yeah, definitely is. I think we've eclipsed this like mid-curve environment of startups on chain, and we've accepted that memes are memes and non-memes like need to like fit some type of mold. But I'm glad to see meme coins picking back up again. I'm glad that people aren't expecting revenue coins out of meme coins anymore. It's clear to me that like with the resurgence of like Untcoin and Ponzi coins like MILF token and some of the other ones too that have been coming out, it's a good sign. I don't know. I think it's a good sign. I think we're kind of past that weird hill where everything needed to be equity.
Yeah, well, we're also at like a super validating point in the cycle. I feel like when we really started getting interested in this whole ICM meta, back in early Believe days, like we saw early signs of it. We've come so far. Just like now, we're really starting to see meaningful volume come to like the pre-IPO tokens, like pre-stocks, X stocks, Tessera, like meaningful volume flow through Hyperliquid, and it seems like something shifted where people are starting to realize blockchain super powerful for a lot of stuff. And it doesn't necessarily need to tie with the correlation or like the negative stigma that crypto's had for so long. How are you feeling with this? Because it's come so far, and I think it kind of is eclipsing the vision you had in the early days. What are you seeing right now?
I think I'm seeing a lot of cynicism for sure. I mean, I'm definitely talking to a lot of founders from our network and out of our network right now. They're maybe even slightly becoming maybe even pessimistic is the word around consumer, which kind of blows, admit. I think like
recession kind of pessimism.
I think like
AI doomer pessimism.
Maybe doomer, yeah. It's like, they start getting philosophical. Oh, everything that makes money in crypto is an exchange. If it's not an exchange, it doesn't make money. If it's not a revenue narrative, it doesn't make money. And I think like the consumer angle of it, where you can build a product that you can actually just go DTC, direct to consumer, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and acquire users for that product. I think a lot of people are disillusioned, but I think also a lot of those people aren't doing the research. I've actually spent the last I'd say like the last 3.5 months mainly just focusing on D2C, go to market for a lot of the products that we're incubating, and just also raising capital for a lot of them too. Beyond those two things, there hasn't been much that's really taken up a lot of my attention space. I've participated in every single app rollout for the most part that's somewhat consumer centric. So I've participated in a lot of stuff that you guys have covered already. But yeah, nothing nuts yet. You know, it's feels like we're in a nice calm before the storm, before somebody really breaks the rules, and that's exciting. I'm excited to see who does that.
We're seeing the green shoots. I mean, we had Collector Crypt, we feature pre-show here, and they've built a really great business. Solana is core to the settlement across the value that's derived from that business, but the revenue is from outside of crypto.
Yeah, it's a great example. I met a really great founder recently who wasn't a great fit for our incubator just because he's just too far along in product. It's well known. His name's Inhuman. He comes from the Web3 gaming space. He's building a product called Shiny.com. Fucking killer domain, so sexy. Shiny.com. And they're in the cards and collectibles. The reason why we don't touch that is because nobody in our DAO just has that direct experience in that to like make a meaningful like impact on the team. So there's just great opportunities that we're not a VC where we can just take a bet on interest. We have to make a bet on like our skill set, you know, and make sure that we can like help a team. But there's been some really cool teams still coming across my plate that maybe we're not a great fit for as like an incubator just because of like our experience as a collective to help teams go to market. But there's still been some really great products coming to market. Yeah, and like I still love taking calls with teams like this and like learning about how they're going to market. And you know, these guys can't keep up with the demand. Genuinely can't even keep up with the demand, which is phenomenal. Like they have like they sell out the moment they put slabs up. So it's very clear to me there's like clear market demand in a lot of these different consumer categories. But we are at a stage where like founder market fit is everything. And Human, you know, as the founder for this makes a lot of sense. He's been a collector for a really, really long time. I keep my eyes peeled, boys. I keep my eyes absolutely peeled on anything that like is great, like gaining real traction.
Valid. Let's get some updates here on the ICM run community situation. What's going on? How are you guys standing right now? Any words?
Yeah, honestly, chilling. You know, I think expectations of outcomes when it comes to incubators are always going to be slow. ICM.run was never designed to be a 6-month outcome DAO. We're designed to incubate, which means this could take, you know, a year to year and a half to really produce meaningful results. But I'm excited to say we're closing really great rounds with a lot of the different teams that we're incubating at the moment, teams that will give us revenue and equity in those companies, which is amazing. The goal with a lot of these teams that we're incubating is to take them to the end, you know, take them all the way to the finish line, rather that's acquisition, IPO, or whatever other type of liquidity stage, Series A, Series B, Series C, to the very end. Some teams are still evaluating tokenizing. I won't say which ones. Obviously, I'd like to let them kind of like plan how they want to communicate, how they plan to tokenize. But the conversation of tokenizing is coming back up, which is amazing because the conversation was off the table for us for a little while there. I would say between December to February, we approached most of the teams that were incubating, the ones that wanted just to directly tokenize and not do some type of really cool equity or revenue model with us. We essentially just let them know we're sunsetting it for the time being. But quite a few of the teams now are reapproaching tokenization, which is really, really cool. I think the teams that are approaching it now have had enough time to watch the markets, how they respond to like tokens that have an app or some type of consumer app or revenue attached to it, which has been really, really great. I think like being an incubator in this market has been very calm, which is like, I think what I wanted in the first place. I wanted to be able to work with teams long term. I want to take them to their different liquidity stages. You know, I think like I'll speak on ICM.token a little bit too, because I don't speak a lot about this publicly. I also think that like when I started ICM.run, I definitely underestimated how short-term minded a lot of people were, and I think that that's valid. And I think that I don't really know how token performance works for an incubator. I don't know if like how ICM token performs against these liquidity stages of projects we're incubating. You know, do we run back up, and then when it happens, we run back down? Do we just deposit $500,000 liquidity pool when an exit happens, or $5 million in a liquidity pool in our like staking pool when an exit happens and price action reflects it or it doesn't? I don't know. But I can tell you the people who own this token are people I want to build with for a very, very long term. And that was always my intention. When I built ICM.run, I wanted the people who are in the DAO to have exposure to the companies that we're incubating directly and to see and have exposure to the upside, and also to feel incentivized because of that to support the teams and allow us to take phone calls with them, allow them to do investor intros, allow them to do go-to-market strategy. And in my opinion, we've accomplished all those goals. I think there's still a lot to be learned when it comes to tokenization. I would have changed a lot if I could go back in time and change things, how I set up the tokenization of this. But we're not in a position at all of backtracking. We're staying the course. Nothing's changed for us in regards to like our go-to-market. We're still taking on projects. I would say we have like 15 projects per year. We're really going to take on at any stance. If it gets really frothy, maybe we take on more. Really happy with the teams that we have. We'll probably accept another cohort probably in like early summer. Probably take on another cohort of another like 4 to 6 projects that will go through the ICM.run incubator. At this moment, though, no teams have applied yet that are at a stage that are ready for incubation. Actually, it's been kind of validating a thesis that we have right now, which is that more and more teams, because of access of AI, are more idea stage founders. So I spend even more of my time lately like pre-incubating a lot of teams, which is just like, meeting really exceptional founders that are first-time technical founders and guiding them along the process of being a first-time startup founder, which actually really works really well for the next project we're going to bring up, which is Ally, which is a kind of a product that I'm spearheading with somebody who we haven't announced yet publicly, who will be joining the stream with us, who is the co-founder of Ally. I'm really excited for him to kind of yap a little bit with us about his vision for it, his direction he wants to take with it, and maybe why we started it together too.
So Mercy, to loop back to the ICM token, I think what you've had now is a community of strong hands. You have everyone who's in here is like in here for the vision of incubating, and it's kind of the froth is behind. When you look at kind of the token today, and you had published some ideas around, how staking would work and revenue and this kind of stuff, and how the value would flow or accrue or whatnot. How do you think about the token today to, maybe update that kind of thinking that you had, back last year?
Yeah, it's still the same thesis. I mean, at the end of the day, when we rolled out the staking pool, we did not know what market we were heading into. Yeah. At the end of the day, we have had.
Is the staking pool live now?
Oh yeah, it's live. 100%.
Yeah.
So like,
how much is staked? Sorry, I want to get through these metrics because I think this is interesting.
I'm staked.
Yeah, I don't know how much is staked at this point. I think it's a good amount. I think there's a good amount of supply that's staked up. I think I can see here.
I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
Yeah, like 21, about like a good 21% of the supply is staked up at the moment.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think also at the end of the day too, like when we rolled that out, when you close on a contract for revenue from a proper Web 2 startup, that's not something that closes in like 10 days. There's a lot of contracts and legalese that goes into these to make sure that there's milestones, deliverables, long-term milestones. No good founders going to give up revenue in their startup to a DAO that and then just like, hey, yeah, sure, 5% for live, GG's. There's a lot of contracts that go into this, a lot of legal, but the good news is that we're coming to a close on most of those contracts.
You probably know better than ever, man. It's better than anyone. It's like, it's back and forth, and it's like one day at a time, because none of these lawyers they don't get to you over the weekend. They respond, and the next day the other lawyer responds, and 4 days later you have a response.
Yeah. And the other thing too, when it comes to like revenue from launch pads, one of the angles we were initially exploring is that we had so many projects that applied that ended up just launching on pump. So, the thesis was that would maintain. That hasn't. And that's because truthfully, tokenization is like waves, right? It comes in these big waves. It comes with, it has crests, top of the wave, and it has the bottom of the wave. And I don't know what part of the wave we're in right now. I couldn't tell you. I don't have the crystal ball, and I don't have a good tinfoil hat quant to give you that great answer. But I can tell you that, when it does come back, we'll be positioned for that. And that's, I think, the main thing, the conversation I have with a lot of the projects we're incubating, especially the ones that are trying to get into the launchpad space. We haven't really incubated a launchpad directly just yet. Even Fair.Club isn't even a proper launchpad at this stage. It's more of a safe round raising platform. So we haven't even really incubated like a completely permissioned launchpad at this stage. We tested some experimentation with the Collateralized team just because we love Pierre. He's a mentor at ICM.run, and we still support Collateralized to this day. But there's almost no point at this stage in the market to incubate any type of launch pad or anything to that effect at all, just because the answers that we need to feel confident to back a team haven't been answered. And we're really looking in the market to see what the market demands and wants. And the reality is, from our perspective, we haven't really seen a launchpad team really kind of check all the boxes just yet for us to back them. And some of the boxes they need to check are out of their hands. That's just completely market driven.
Well, we're seeing some interesting experiment. I mean, like Futardio was one that I don't know, kind of, raised some money, but not super successful on the token side. But printers seem to come along and had some actual success on some
Founder
of the tokens,
fit, dude. Founder market
doing really, really, really well. And we had a Fed on the 14th, and some of the tokens were just a couple $100,000 at that point. And then they just went on a run.
He's killing it. Printer's absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's one of those examples of founder market fit. He's a great meme coin general. You know what I mean? He's on the front lines. He understands the culture. He understands who's using the product. He understands what they want. He understands where these people who are trading on his launchpad spend their time, because he's one of them. He's 100% one of them. So he's a generational founder, and I'm definitely paying attention to Printer.
That they are really interesting. They got good backers too. So, but you keep coming back to this word, founder market fit. Do us a favor, explain kind of what you mean when you say that phrase.
Yeah, when I say founder market fit, I think it's about anyone can have great ideas, right? There's been plenty of product hunts before Product Hunt came to market, and there's been plenty of variations of Hyperliquid that came to market before Hyperliquid, right? Mm-hmm. And that will be the case for everything. What founder market fit is somebody who is the right person for the role, right? Somebody, I could give you my thesis on what a great founder looks like either way, but I've also been wrong, and that's not going to change. ICM.run has made not great bets too. I will be the first to admit that as well. That is like the fallacy of running a DAO. Group thinking isn't always great thinking. Sometimes there is a benefit just to having one person making decisions, and that does still have proof to this day. But I am also happy with the ones that we have selected. I think when I look at for founder market fit, I'm looking for somebody who's ran the distance previously in another startup that directly was a direct contributor to growth, product, and direction. Most of the teams that we incubate ICM.run, we're mostly making a bet on the founder, and very seldom are we making a real bet on the technology. In most instances, technology is just going to continue to get commoditized. It is going to be the person behind it that actually drives the distribution for the product.
Yep. We're pretty much at time for this segment, but I do want to, cover one or two questions I did see the community asking. We have some of the mentors selling the ICM tokens, of course, like out of your control, but maybe just give you time here to give your piece on that for those that are maybe in here looking for answers.
Yeah, when we initially launched ICM.run with the mentors, of course, we wanted to incentivize them to be with the DAO long term. And I think if I could go back in time, I think the thesis back then was we don't want people holding up a large sum of supply of this token at a stage later down the line when the incubator is receiving liquidity stages of the different projects we're incubating. Perhaps, maybe everybody we started with a DAO aren't going to be the people we end with the DAO. But that also has changed too, because we've also onboarded a ton of new people that have joined the DAO recently that are also actively contributing now too. I don't have great answers. And the real reality is that it's just not a great fit. If they are not going to be here with the DAO long-term, that is on them. The actual general thesis and the value underlying of the token has not changed. Nothing has really shifted and or changed. The actual proposition of what we're doing with the DAO has not changed. I'm not going to give financial advice and say this is a great opportunity. Oh, this is your chance to get a position in the DAO either. But also, I'm not going to force any person who's holding this token to hold it if they do not want to be a part of this long term. My mission is to see through the vision of the DAO and to see through the liquidity stage of the companies. And I think that will reflect if you ever speak to any of the founders that we're directly incubating. They do feel our support. They do feel how active we are with them. I think the one thing I pride myself on mostly is just being the biggest cheerleader and champion of the projects that we're directly incubating and making sure that they go the distance. And I think that that's going to show really well over the next 60 days. One thing that's been challenging for us is because we incubate teams that are mostly pre-product or pre-MVP, that these things take time to come to market. But a lot of these things are coming to market now. And I'm really excited for the moments where a couple of the projects we're incubating join the global crypto conversation and become more prevalent on the front end of the crypto conversation. And people start putting two and two together on why that is. And I'm not going to take full credit for it either. I think the teams that are going to do that, we're going to do that with or without us. And I'm really grateful that we're able to play a role in that, accelerating that.
Dom does a really good job of this when we do these kind of events. Do you have a question that maybe we could ask all the teams, a Mercy question?
That's a good one. What did they think about tokenization? I think that's a great question. I think that some great insights into how they're looking at the market.
We'll get those clips on that. Thoughts on your tokenization. Where does that end for?
Thoughts on tokenization in general. And one last question, and I'm going to ask Crypto Joneses as well. I'm assuming this is probably a no, but I'll let you answer that, Mercy. Also, you mentioned, at least in our personal conversations, and I think even here you've mentioned like exits and acquisitions. I think you've mentioned we're in the season where there's a lot of people building really meaningful infrastructure, really meaningful consumer apps, meaningful products. And it's like acquisition season. Can you just tell me how you're looking at acquisitions and exits right now? Is that like the main goal of this incubator, is to take projects from, point 1 to point 100 and, get acquired? Or how are you guys looking at that?
I would say most of the teams that we're incubating are interested in going the full distance, which is why we have positioned ourselves to be revenue and equity. But I do think that it's up to them. We're not playing a role as a voting shareholder to tell them they must be acquired at different liquidity stages. I think when you speak to these teams, you're going to realize that they know what's best for them, and we're going to back them and support them the whole way, no matter what they decide, whether that's an IPO, whether that's an acquisition, or if they're going to work on this thing for the next 25 years. If that's the case, we'll be with them for the next 25 years, however long they want to go for it. I think it's not our role to force anybody into some form of liquidity decision that is not in their best interest. Our goal is to help them build generational products that millions of people will use and hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent on. If that means it's an acquisition, it's an acquisition. If it's IPO, it's IPO. If they go the distance for the next 25 years, they go the distance for the next 25 years. We've positioned the DAO to be favorable for all outcomes. Whether that's revenue, whether it's equity or a mixture of both. I think ultimately speaking, it comes down to what they want. I would say acquisition season is always here. That's never changing. I think there's just some categories that are accelerating faster than others. Definitely products in the mobile app direction are definitely going to exit faster than others. I think you'll find that most of the teams that we're incubating are building some form of a mobile app and are going that direction. But yeah, I'm not going to be the guy to force them into any stage, or, if there's a token holder that's like, get capital to exit, there's zero shot we're going to push them into that decision. And frankly speaking, it might even be more favorable that they don't, as we are positioned to be able to earn revenue with these teams as we help them grow, so long as we're hitting our milestones and performing our responsibilities on our side of the fence.
Yep. Okay. Just going to ask the community question and let you get anything left off your chest that you want to, and then we'll introduce the Alley team and talk a bit more about that. Crypto Jones asked in the comments, and guys, feel free to comment whenever. We'll get your questions up here. Will you consider migrating ICM to another platform? I think this is explanatory, but go ahead. All questions are good questions.
I don't have any good reason to. I think the reason why I wouldn't is just because DAOs.Fund's treasury system for on-chain tokens works just fine. I don't really need them to build any more infrastructure for us. In the event where we do tokenize a team and supply of that token is then owned by the DAO, we're going to use that DAO technology they built to house it. If I ever get a text from BAO saying, hey, I'm winding things down on this, it's all on chain. So even then the migration component isn't even super necessary. I mean, the outcome of us of doing that, and I think everyone here has seen that. What has migrated and worked? Like, what's the reason for it? What's the purpose for it? It's for some short-term headlines and maybe a misalignment with the founder that is maybe gathering some headlines in the last 48 hours.
Agreed.
I don't think Balsky has harmed anybody physically. I don't think he's done that. I do think he's pivoting away from launching DAOs, which is fine, but what he's built is perfect for us. I don't have any good reason to migrate away from there. It would just be a distraction away from us making sure that the projects we're incubating are unicorns.
Okay. Amazing. Any last words to address the community on anything they might have, or anything you want to say? And we'll pull up Alley after this.
Yeah. A lot of teams slow rug. I get that. A lot of teams like just finish. ICM.run token and what I'm building here, I've been doing this for free for so long this is going nowhere, and I'm going nowhere with it. Like I'm going to be here with this token as long as the mentors will allow us to keep the DAO and the incubator going. There's been zero conversation internally about shutting down or sunsetting anything we're working on. The people who are directly contributing to the DAO understand that the teams that we're incubating are being incubated as incubator, not an accelerator. They understand these things, these outcomes are going to take potentially, 9 months to potentially up to 3 years to create something really meaningful. And we're patient to do that. And, we're not just making bets on the current teams. We will onboard and incubate more teams as time goes along. But we're going the distance, and we're staying the course. Nothing's changing for us.
Thanks, Mercy. Well, do me a favor, give a little introduction to Ali and what they're building, and we can pull them up and get into that.
Yeah, Ally is amazing. Me and Frey officially announcing it are co-founding it together. Frey is an absolute generational UI UX designer. Worked on Apple, X, or formerly Twitter, and some other amazing consumer app products. He's also built some amazing like gamified UI UX as well. He also deeply understands the challenge. To simply introduce, because we're not going to give all of the details away of Ally today, but just to simply introduce it, it is we match micro grants together with mass scale UGC. Our core focus initially will be Web 2, and we will be transitioning back into Web 3 once we've reached our goals and have reached real market MVP. We've reached a real market MVP on short form content and with TikTok users and Instagram users initially, and YouTube users first. But really simply put, we match together micro grants with UGC. We can take something like a potential, a $50K grant and turn that into thousands of micro grants that generate potentially tens to hundreds of millions of views across social apps. And that's one of the things that we really want to get behind, because in this era of AI, commoditizing technology, first-time app builders are here more than ever. And if I could really communicate the opportunity best, WAP, Shopify, and many other teams position themselves for the last era of early stage internet entrepreneurs. Ally is positioning itself for the next, which is first-time app builders, first-time web app builders, individuals under the age of 17 and 16. And a lot of our positioning is really bullish on these 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old first-time web app, mobile app builders. They are first-time founders. They're not like you and I, where we have great contacts to put together a startup together, hire people from former tech companies. These are first-time web app builders, potentially makeup content creators on TikTok with hundreds of thousands of followers, building their first AI makeup tool. And that is our biggest focal point right now at Ally, is servicing those individuals.
Okay, fantastic. Well, then I'm going to pull up Frey here and hear a bit from him. Frey, first time on air here, or what's going on?
Yeah, what's up? How we doing?
Well, we're doing good. I mean, I know I've been giddy to hear more about Ally and what, yourself and Mercy are building. Micro grants plus mass scale UGC. He gave an example of a 50K grant can get broken down into, tons, hundreds of micro grants, and that can be used to just scale distribution massively. Can you maybe just give us some of your thoughts on why this is important?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a little bit of a background on myself and how we got here. But yeah, I'm a consumer app builder, really my whole career. I really got started at the dawn of mobile apps and got to work on some of the first really big shopping apps, and worked with a company called Fancy. And we raised like $100 million back in the day. And our team was pretty cracked at just figuring out mobile and commerce as a combination. And that's how I got to help Apple Pay with Apple, Twitter commerce, Snapchat, and Shopify, really doing the same thing, making their app as usable and commerce focused as possible. And I founded a company in 2021 that was a Web3 company called Americana. I had raised around $7 million from Alexis Ohanian, OpenSea, and that was around tokenized collectibles. And that was the first thing that really glued me to the crypto space, and I've been addicted ever since. I recognize some of y'all from the the Pasternak days too. I'm a recovering launch coin whale. With last night's events. Let's just say that karma is karma, but we digress. But yeah, I mean, I've really been helping early stage founders.
I wonder if his cellmate will be a launch coin whale.
I hope not, for his sake. But
yeah, right.
But no, yeah, I mean,
There's some flywheels in there for sure.
The wrong kind.
Wrong kind. The drop the soap flywheel. Let's not get into that.
But no, I mean, ever since my company, and like really what brought down my company, what was really like the nail in the coffin was with the FTX crash. Like the whole market crashed, and I think there were just a million lessons learned along the way, aside from like just my product focus and my app focus. Helping founders like from day zero, giving them as much advice and strategy as possible. You know, working with dozens of companies and dozens of founders. It's really cool. You know, this has all really come together with Mercy. Like Mercy, obviously, you know, with ICM and working with day zero companies from the jump for like coming up on like a year now, like as a combination with my ability to make you know, good mobile apps. Yeah, we're really pumped. I've been I don't want to share too many details. I think I'm better at keeping secrets than Mercy is. Love you, Mercy, but
not tough to do.
Mercy almost pulled up the pitch deck. I had to unshare that.
Delete. But yeah, from a high level, obviously we hear all the time, but AI has made building like extremely easy. Where very young founders, the age of founders has just dropped. Like it used to be like the craziest you would hear is like this 18-year-old, 19-year-old founder, and now it's like there's 14-year-olds that are just, you don't need like this crazy education to be able to build things. AI has lowered that barrier entirely, but the big problem that remains is their distribution. Like you saw with TBPN and y'all. Like distribution is king, like, and it just shed a light, such a clear light. So we're really connecting these two dots of how easy it is for first-time builders to start building, and then distribution, which is like largely TikTok, UGC. We're really focused on TikTok, and I think that's in part because we know how toxic and gross it can be to try to build in front of CT. It's like really, we'll just say it's very difficult, and it's just a bright green pasture of, you know, fresh grass on the other side. So a high level, sort of connecting those dots.
So Frey, tell me a bit about this, because you have like UGC on TikTok, which is like very high impression, but I think like generally lower conversion. And then you mentioned TBPN, where it's like, okay, pretty low impressions with super niche communities that are, you know, active spenders and very action oriented. Tell me how you guys look at that and the differentiating factor, because we saw OpenAI, for example, made this big multi-$100 million investment in TBPN because they thought that niche 6,000 viewers per stream commanded a lot of capital. How do you guys look at that compared to something where it's like TikTok, hey, we'll get 10 million views, and maybe it's a subtle product mention in the content. Like, how are you guys, I guess, differentiating these two very different types of marketing?
Can I steal that one, Frey?
Yeah, go for it.
The question you asked is actually factually incorrect. The actual conversion rate on TikTok is actually far better, and Instagram and YouTube Shorts is actually far better than most people would realize. The opportunity, if you're building any type of mobile app, the conversion on TikTok UGC content comparatively to any X content you could create isn't even remotely close. There are many app builders all of us would never hear about, never know about, never see about, that are absolutely dominating, generating hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars per quarter, per month in some instances, that you and I and us in this Web3 crew never even see, all coming directly, exclusively from UGC, mostly through TikTok and through other apps like Instagram. And even then with TBPN, the opportunity of acquiring the live stream really was not the positioning of the live stream, it's the positioning of the UGC. The fact that that brand positioning is going to be in every piece of short form content that's being shared and actually reaching the multitude of people that the live stream itself does not actually reach in most instances. So it's actually the conversion rate on UGC that's actually outperforming the live stream. It's just the live stream medium that allows them to create that scalable content.
You're talking about like the clips on YouTube Shorts that are posted by other accounts outside of TBPN.
Yeah. The comparable between clipping and UGC is still the same outcome. It's just a different angle, right?
Yeah.
UGC is someone making a video about your app. Clipping is someone making content about your live stream. It's just different medium to outcome, but the outcome still remains the same: mass scale content coming from one place, particularly for one particular crew. And it still remains the same. And the companies, by the way, that are facilitating this are bankrolling. The companies like Content Rewards, SideShift app, Methods, which is by the ex-CMO of Cluely, which these are all UGC platforms and clipping platforms, are making millions of dollars per quarter, if not millions of dollars a month. And I think that those numbers aren't also trackable. It's not all on chain where I can see, oh, what's the volume for doing analytics for UGC campaigns? But if you go on right now, contentrewards.com, or if you go on SideShift app, you're going to see Polymarket deploying $500,000 every 2 months on these apps. You're going to see the likes of Callsheet. You're going to see the likes of FOMO. You'll see the likes of CLED. You'll see the likes of many applications that everyone here is also aware of. And the reason they're generating these results is not from X. It's all coming from short form content.
That's a super fascinating take, and I would love to see some of those statistics. If you ever have those on hand. Frey, do you have any further comment on that?
Yeah, I like the idea of like you're talking about the niche, and that's really what we're leaning into. Like part of our app is also like finding your team, finding your people. So if you are a beauty influencer on TikTok, like your niche within your niche is great. Like that's what you want. You don't want to have a bunch of different possibilities of like how you could work to build a product. It's really laser focused on starting small. And I think that also goes into micro grants as a product. The grant model is so antiquated and it's so old. It's honestly like, grants are typically 50 to 100K. And that's way too much money, to be honest. Like that's not how much it costs to like make an app now. It's not how much it costs to get started with micro grants. You can get $500, instantly in app and get started. And like, that's what you need. You need someone helping you from day zero. So really rethinking these older models of grants, even hackathons, there's so many hackathons. And then when it ends, it's like, okay, good luck out there. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm just out in the wild now. I've left the zoo. I think there's a lot of work to be done to, help first-time founders through that process.
So how does the business work though? So you give a $500 grant to 14-year-old Dom who's building this like new cool AI thing. It goes viral on TikTok. How do you as the grant giver realize upside in that so that your business model makes sense?
Can't share all these secrets. Murs, don't answer this.
I'll answer by saying we're not optimized for revenue out the gate. We're not optimizing.
So you're giving $500 and you're saying, what? Hey, give us ownership. I don't know. Give us. Okay, we'll create a viral app, and like, are you getting like affiliate things? I'm just trying to understand. And maybe like, companies like Solana are like, we'll just give grants out because we just want people building on our thing. But like, I don't know. I'm just trying to understand.
Frey telling me not to leak. It's hilarious. I'll give you one analogy that I love to share with investors when we're meeting with them about Ally that I think will help communicate this. And it's really questions I'm going to ask you. Do you believe, Josh and Dinero, that over the next 5 years, OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek, Anthropic, Grok, and all the other models as well, such as Lovable, from A tier, that's $1 billion companies, B tier, $500 million companies, C tier, $100 million companies, do you agree that they're all going to keep rolling out models, new coding models?
Why not?
Yep. Do we agree with that? So, and do we agree that every time one rolls out, they're going to be competing with the other for mind share, attention, and users?
Yeah, they have to.
100%. Right. So every single time OpenAI does a rollout, or every time Anthropic does a rollout, they need to show and visualize all of the different niche use cases for that particular coding model every single time they do that. And the positioning that Ally puts itself in front of is the distribution layer for that, particularly. Every single time Anthropic's going to roll out a new model, doing a large-scale micro-grant campaign with Ally is going to ensure that the TikTok is absolutely filled to the brim with tens of thousands, if not more, maybe like hundreds of thousands of videos about how that model is being used in that app startup. The positioning of that is actually what is the tailwind opportunity. Every single time OpenAI is going to roll out a model, they're going to fork out tens of millions of dollars to get that product out to the broader user base, because they themselves equally, just like in the social era, are not optimizing for revenue. They're optimizing for mind share and distribution. And Ally will be the human first distribution layer for all the future AI models. And now at the top of the level, there's at the mid level, there's everything else too: call sheet, Polymarket, Solana, and every other type of product that is a horizontal based technology that needs builders building on top of it. This is a distribution layer to reach those builders.
Okay, I agree with you. You said something really interesting. You said a human first platform. How are you seeing the AI generated UGC, something like a Higgsfield AI or something of that sorts? How are you guys looking at AI generated UGC?
Oh, dude, I've been tracking AI UGC. I mean, dude, Freya will tell you how much I bother him with all my research on this. I think the quality of this is going to continue to increase for sure. I think we will see this. It already exists. There's just people who've been building very custom flows to generate this, and Higgsfield is just commoditizing those flows. So like the flow to create this level of high quality UGC already did exist months ago, and many of your favorite app builders already have leveraged this to the max to generate hundreds of millions of views and generate tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of app downloads.
Damn, this is a great way to pitch products. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hilarious too. It's like perfect, honestly. It's genuinely perfect. But I think that's not going to change the fact that the opportunity, and the founder of NVIDIA actually said it really well in a recent podcast, the opportunity is in the infrastructure that interacts between AI and people and the app layer. That's the biggest opportunity. The way that AI interacts with human beings and the place that happens is the largest opportunity that exists within AI at this current stage. And that is really where I'm most focused on positioning Ally, is to be the human first angle for all the builders that are going to be coming out. You know, if you think the e-com boom was big, if you think the drop shipping boom was big, the AI web app, mobile app wave is going to make that look like crumbs. It's going to be so incredible. We're going to see so many amazing first-time app and mobile app and web app builders come out of the markets over the next 6 months to a year, especially as AI models continue to commoditize every aspect of the technology. We're going to see so much interesting taste come out of this. The amount of GTA level products that are going to come out around then is going to be so nuts. I really don't think everyone really sees that just yet, but I see it clear as day that there's going to be a new wave of internet entrepreneurs, and we're positioning Ally to be their home.
What qualifies a UGC ad as monetizable? Because really these ads do a great job now, where it'll be someone just popping up on TikTok telling a story, and it'll be a subtle ad for, like, it's completely a made up story or storyline. It'll be a subtle ad for something else while doing it, whatever it might be, and they're very captivating. Like it's very good. But at what point are you like, okay, this is an ad and it qualifies for monetization, or okay, it doesn't really share enough on the product and we can't qualify it?
Very good question. Filtering. It's what you're referring to right now is filtering and grant requirements. There's a lot of ways to do this. The shorter answer of it is that we've done the research on how existing platforms, and I've also have done this in my previous career. I was at Columbia Records. I used to manage all the large-scale UGC campaigns when I was working there, doing music song rollouts for Jack Harlow, Tame Impala, Kanye West, managing tens of millions of dollars in UGC campaigns for music campaigns on TikTok at that time. The model of filtering is still the same. There's just requirements, key things that need to be met. And the good news is AI has already commoditized that to verify and validate that. If you guys want a great example of a really recent notable UGC platform that's rolled out, Methods by Cluely XCMO, recently rolled out. In the last 69 days, they've garnished over 260,000 new users using this app. Absolutely unprecedented levels of growth at the moment. And a lot of this is just really coming down to People in the young generation want to make money online. That is never going to change. It's only going to accelerate, and it's going to accelerate further at a younger and younger. Man, when I was 11 or 12, guys, I was playing Halo Combat Evolved when it just rolled out. I was not thinking about shipping a web app. That is not the case anymore.
No, I agree completely. And we literally have like 1 more minute left. And we gotta get into the Mercy question, which is thoughts on tokenization, and maybe kind of like just wrap in like what the ICM run engagement is with Ally.
Yeah, I think the question will go to Frey. I like to hear it because I already gave it. But in regards to ICM.run, ICM.run has a stake in equity in this company, just how it does with every project we incubate. This company is not optimizing for revenue. We haven't really had the negotiating stage just yet, just because I initially founded this and I already gave the equity to the DAO upon the establishment of the entities, or at least the partnership agreements we've created. Since we're not optimizing for revenue, we probably won't do a revenue flow back until we are optimizing for revenue, if that even makes sense to. But I think ICM.run benefits from Ally in ways that are intrinsic of acquiring really phenomenal early stage teams. I am 1,000,000% certain that if we reach our goals, every BagZap deployer is going to be an Ally. Every pump, creator coin guy, startup coin guy is going to be an Ally, trying to like source projects to try to tokenize them. I have feelings on this and opinions on this. I won't share them on this call, but I think it's a great question for Fred.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the token, we don't have a token at this time, but and I think the best way to keep in the loop with what we're building is follow the X account, try Ally app, and yeah, we'll be announcing our funding there and our progress as it comes together.
Awesome. Since you guys are not optimizing for profit, maybe being loss leaders for a little while, are you guys raising? Is this coming from venture checks, or what's the plan there?
Yep, we are raising. Yeah, Ally app is raising currently.
All right. We'll leave it at that, guys. It was a pleasure. This is interesting. We'll be keeping tabs on everything. So follow the Ally account, keep up with Frey and Mercy, and we'll keep you guys looped in. As always, much appreciated, boys.
See you guys.
Thanks, boys. This for always for having us.
Love it.
Chat soon. Very cool. Not much time to give thoughts. We can maybe do at the end. We got Steven up here from Tessera, just popping him on there. Steven, man, we want the updates. I think when Tessera was like in its early inkling stages, and you're muted, by the way, but as Tessera was early, it feels like this model is still getting proven out. And now, like months later, we've gotten so much social proof. I think that this is like the direction we're headed. And my biggest thing is, you guys, maybe I'll ask you about this too, is like, I think there's a lot of people really looking to heavily invest in the infrastructure that's going to capture this market. So going to be interested to get some of your thoughts on that. But how are things coming along for Tessera? And maybe just for those that are unaware, 1 minute elevator pitch.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah. One of the first live streams, podcasts, whatever you want to call it, we did was with MCG. So I appreciate the early support before SpaceX rollout. I'll give a quick pitch on Tessera. So we're a private equities platform on Solana. We allow retail traders to get pre-IPO opportunities. So you can trade exposure to SpaceX, soon Kalshi, and a whole bunch more at valuations that only institutions get access to. That's the 30-second pitch.
Absolutely. And, kind of the first question was, when we started this, it feels like there was really no one doing this. You had like the X stocks, you had the pre-stocks, but the volume was relatively low. I mean, this week alone, this month alone, we've seen just volumes really start to jump. Like the proof is there. The proof is in the pudding. How are you guys looking at that from Tessera's perspective?
Good. It's a good signal too. And the percentage of like retail trading of that and just organic growth across us, pre-stocks, anyone in this niche is very obvious. And so it's cool to see that it's just these, baby steps. It just keeps going and going and going. And I think you just need the word to get out there. RWAs are a tough space to be in. The vast majority of the tension, unfortunately, is concentrated in crypto on very high volatility, very quick, like short-term thinking. And I think we're changing that. And maybe it's the bear market, maybe it's just getting this in front of enough people. But once it clicks for someone, it really clicks.
Yeah, SpaceX seemed to be a very successful launch for you guys. You offered it 800 billion, of course, like significantly under market value at that point. I think it even took people a little while to realize it was a pretty obvious trade, at least on my end.
Dom, were you in the SpaceX play?
Well, of course. I mean, dude, if they're gonna give me the early rounds to that, I'm definitely gonna take them. So I was in there via Tessera. I told everyone to join. They should have. It was a great opportunity. What are like the learnings you guys took from that in terms of is this the outcome you guys were expecting? Did it go well? Just like any kind of postmortem.
Good question. I think the main learning, were I to do SpaceX again, I would probably have it be first come, first serve, and then cap out at the amount of equity we have available instead of oversubscribing and then doing a pro rata refund. The pro rata refund was great. It works. It's very fair. It was only, I think there was like 30 or 40 grand of oversubscription, which when you really divide that out, it wasn't a huge refund people got. But going back, given how much demand there was and how quickly that moved through, I would have probably stopped it right at the cutoff to have to not pro rata anyone, and then have more of those people that wanted extra to come in on the secondary. And that's just a weird technical learning. I think there hadn't ever been, to my knowledge, an Alpha Vault with an RWA like this, definitely not in the private equity space. So it was a first for us. It was a first for Meteora in the structure that we did it. And we'll be taking those lessons into the Kalshi launch, as well as having very clear call to actions and eligibility criteria. The way we did SpaceX was it's very simple. If you had signed up for us, we did a couple months of pre-marketing and like a speculative buildup where we didn't really mention the product, and we got a whole bunch of creators involved and people pitched behind the scenes that then helped us push and roll our name out there. And anybody who came to our site and made an account was just automatically in the Alpha Vault for SpaceX. We're doing it a little bit differently now. We're going to be announcing this in the next couple of days. So go to our Twitter. I just got off a podcast a second ago that was recorded, so I could say a lot more because I have control of the release date. So I have to be really careful what I say right now. Keep your eye on our Twitter Monday and Tuesday. I would recommend, no, I can't say that. I can't let people game it. Kalshi is coming very soon, and it will also be a significant discount from what people are trading it on the secondary market. I want to say it's even bigger than SpaceX's was. When you factor in when SpaceX acquired XAI, there was like some dilution there. So I think the 800 billion pool, I think technically it like reverted to $1 trillion or something like that with these shares they gave out for XAI. But yeah, this one will be a really good opportunity. I think existing users, I think traders, I think core contributors, people like yourself, I'll send you guys a message about this. Anyone that's been supporting us, I think are going to be really pleased with the opportunity we provide.
Well, I'm excited for that. Steven, something I want to ask is, you guys had these earlier rounds of SpaceX, holding on to that. And like this probably goes for a lot of these companies that are in these growth stages. And we know how fast companies are raising today. Is it more profitable to go and, put this on chain and earn from fees, I guess is maybe your business model, and you can explain that more? Or is it more profitable to just hold and like you'd be up 100% on SpaceX?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. We would have made more money just selling our SpaceX because we bought at 800 billion. We would have technically made more money just selling it at 1.6, 1.7 now in the secondary and making however many millions that is. However, we're not building that as a protocol. We're not trading private assets, right? We're not trying to invest in these companies and then let them go public and sell. That would just be a private investor or whatever you call it. We're trying to build a protocol. We're building a protocol that allows retail to get access, and we're trying to provide a liquidity source for these assets that are very illiquid. And us thinking short term would just be, hey, let's take this position we bought and let's sell it for like a 5% discount, right? But let's make a huge profit on that spread. We're not thinking like that. We're thinking, what is the best go-to-market? And the best go-to-market is when we have these situations like SpaceX where we held it for a couple months and the timing just worked out where it was already near, double. Offering that discount to retail allowed a lot of people to learn about us. And the same thing applies to Kalshi, right? We could right now on the secondary market be up almost 2x, like just under 2x. And we're choosing to do the same thing we did for SpaceX, which is like, let's find a clever way to give retail access to this at that discount, and then still allow everybody else who learns about us through that process to trade that exposure.
Yeah. How are you guys thinking about, I guess, asset selection here? Because I have this tweet pulled up if I can find it. Yeah, it looks like DeepSeek, for example. Oh, and I stopped sharing. It looks like DeepSeek is planning to raise at a 10 billion valuation, right? This is obviously a Chinese company. Are you guys investing in, and I think a lot of people would want access to it. Are you guys only investing in US companies? Would you dip your toes in the Chinese market? Like, how are you guys deciding asset
There are
selection?
some things we're targeting that aren't US, but that will have a liquidity event. I think the one that isn't a US company is going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. I can't mention that name right now. What we're looking for is the likelihood of a liquidity event, whether it's an acquisition, which is much more speculative and you won't know about that until it happens, or a public listing on the New York stock market. It's pretty much always going to be a company going public that is that liquidity event for Tessera, but the same structure works if a company is acquired.
Makes a lot of sense. As for the market, we're seeing the market grow. It seems so obvious. And like, I think everyone wants to kill for a piece of infrastructure. And so maybe I'd even ask Mercy's question that he has for every guest here. What are your thoughts on
Mercy back in here? Mercy's.
I know, dude. He's well,
big supporter.
He's in the waiting room. We can always pull him up. But his question was for all the founders, their thoughts on tokenization. Obviously, your thoughts on tokenization are probably going to be, oh, there he is. Tokenizing private assets, and I want to get your thoughts on that. But in general, people want access to the infrastructure. You guys are providing the infrastructure.
They want a token too. The veiled question is, are you going to do a token? Yeah, I won't comment on it. I mean, I'm of the belief that protocols should like try to find product market fit. And if you have a lot of volume and a lot of revenue and there's something that makes sense, like you should do it. We are raising. Don't really want to comment on it. I want people to use Tessera because they like what we're building and they like getting access to that. And they show that they like that with their capital. Like that is what I want people to do. And if there's anything in the future, that's just an added benefit, right? The second you farm the concept of a token, you get very short-term thinking. You get this weird expectation where they expect you to pay them, right? Mm-hmm. And we're not, I'm not building that this way. And so even with Kalshi, it's like your access and opportunity. These aren't, I'm trying to think of the word. The incentive is the opportunity, but you have to put your own capital in, right?
Sure.
And it's not, hey, you do this and we're going to give you some extra positions, or we're going to give you some of the fees right now, or like, it's not these things that create weird farming relationships. Where then in the future, if you ever want to pivot, if you ever want to change the course of anything, you can't, because you've built up a community of short-term thinkers that expects like, when is this token happening? And so I don't really have any thoughts on it for now, but as far as tokenizing everything, yeah, private equities, absolutely. Private markets, there's a whole bunch of different private markets that I think long-term Tessera could bring. For now, it's just private equities pre-IPO.
One more thing on the token side, because I do agree with you, and we see people abuse this all the time, and it kind of, I guess, shows where their interests lie. Where it's like, okay, we're going to promise some sort of points program or airdrop, and you can meaningfully see spikes in the protocol's usage, trading volume, activity, completely around people speculating on some sort of airdrop. It seems you guys have no interest in that kind of.
No interest, because I think the consequences are so it's bad. We've seen it with so many protocols. I mean, I'm not going to start name dropping massive companies on Solana, but we can all think of, there's been like NFT marketplaces. There's been so many that if they
every trading platform,
you're like almost that. Yeah. If they didn't do that token, they wouldn't have pissed off inevitably tens of thousands of people who bought at the wrong time. And now they expect something from you. And I could, like you said, I could say right now, we're going to do a token and our usage would double. I know the downside or the back end of that is not worth it. Not worth it. And are you actually going to generate the revenue from that long term that makes your company survive or not? Probably not. So, cross that bridge when you have something that like legitimately has value for users.
Sure. I completely agree. Two more questions from my end. One, like I was saying again, everyone wants a piece of the infrastructure. Are you guys raising? I think I know you're going to be at Consensus or at least Accelerate.
Yeah, we'll
Are you guys seeking any investments while you're down there, or what are your thoughts around capital?
I'm not going down there particularly as part of our raise. We're hosting a creator event. I think we're going to be announcing it in the next hour or two with 2 other companies.
Can we attend?
You know what? Are you going to be there? Maybe actually.
Yeah. A creator event. I mean, are we creators?
It's very small. It's like 20 to 30 KOLs. It's like it's either like making sushi or making pasta or something like that.
All right, it won't put you on the spot then. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm letting Max is managing all that. So I'll let her know you're interested though. But we're going down there for that. We'll be filming some content, getting to meet a lot of people, and I'll have to stop by your you guys will have a setup at Consensus, right?
We do. We have a room. It'll be a lot of fun. But we'll be bouncing around. I think game plan is 2 to 3 hours at Consensus for day 1 and day 2, filming the demo day, and then bouncing around just getting content at Accelerate.
We'll have to grab coffee or something in the morning. I'm probably not going to the actual. Usually, I don't go into Consensus. I go to all the like networking events.
A lot of people are in the same boat. So you guys are raising money though, is what I guess I was coming to.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. In the process of raising.
We have to start next one here, Dom.
Yep. Last question, because there is a lot of competition in this space. And you know, we see volumes picking up across the board for everyone. How are you guys thinking about competition? Is that something you guys are worried about? You're happy it's here?
It's a small, even if you look at us and all the other competitors, it's a small market. And I think when one of them, what we've seen, because there's been some big announcements, there was something with BitGet and a couple other exchanges in the past few weeks. We rose from that as well. Our activity rose, as did our other competitors that weren't involved in that. And it's like such a small percentage of the space that when one of them starts doing well, I want everyone to start thinking like this is a cool part of crypto, because then when we present it to them, how we might be a little different or we're more permissionless or whatever the like value prop of us over someone else's in that scenario, if they already like this niche, it's a million times easier to get them to use our protocol. So I don't care if one of them blows up. Like this is something that takes a very long time, I think, to like really establish itself as a layer for the secondary market. And it's not going to be just us or just a competitor. It's going to be a collective of people that are trading these, where like arbitrage opportunities start popping up between them.
Yeah. Well, Steven, very bullish on Tessera. I love what you guys are doing. Like there's been so much development in these last couple months, and you guys always come to mind when I see this grow. So thanks so much for coming up. We'll see you at Consensus.
Appreciate you both. Take care.
All right. We have so we're gonna do Dapital, and then Mark will get you out before you gotta go. So we'll make sure we'll get to you.
We're kind of winging it here. So
yeah. We don't have a fixed schedule today. D intern, are you there?
Yo, what's up? How's it going?
It's going well. You know what? I have to even start this by saying I have a confession. I've been saying I would test out the Dapital's platform now for a little while. I've been so swamped with just planning out Consensus, planning out, guests, that I haven't gone to it. So slap on the wrist. I'm coming around to it, but we're excited to have you on today.
Yeah, excited to be here. No worries about that, Don.
I promise I'll get you guys right. How have things been since the last time we had you guys on the show?
Yeah, we've been chugging along. So this is actually Harrison. It's not Ruff. We both presented under Dintern sometimes, just depending on who's available. He's actually a bit sick right now, which is why I'm filling in. But we've been moving along, man. We got perps working from Hyperliquid on the platform. We integrated BNB and Base as a trading thing. And as a quick refresher for everyone who doesn't have context on Dapital as a product, it is we call it a social neo brokerage, also like a financialized social network. It's basically a place where you can trade anything and comment on your trade, sort of like FOMO, but in a longer thesis-like manner. So the actual unit of the post is when you go ahead and like create a post and you add cash tags in it, and then you can trade off of the post. And then the person who created the post gets a little bit of rewards back for that. But really, a lot of the stuff that you need for a really successful trading front end these days is integrating everything in a really nice UX. And so we've been doing that with Hyperliquid, Base, and BSC. But the other side is that so Ralph and our head of growth were actually in Asia for like basically a couple weeks, just heads down grinding on getting folks in the East like really aligned with and energized about Dapple as a platform. Because one of the interesting things, Ralph touched on this last time, is that when we have a social network that is not fully engagement based, where people are posting about financial assets, then there's a way to create a mix of content on the actual app that isn't purely engagement based, which means that content in other languages has up-ranking signal in the algorithm, and you can get a sort of differentiated fee that way. So really, for a go-to-market, we want to have a lot of different people from a bunch of different geographical areas all posting on Dapple and all trading there, and it being a really unique experience.
Let's touch on your go-to-market a little bit, because I mean, it feels like it fits the narrative here with Mercy and Ally and what they're doing, and just the conversation we had at the start of the day about UGC and the blow up of that. What are you guys doing to go to market? Are you guys doing any of the UGC stuff? Like, what's the game plan there?
Yeah, so the first side is that we definitely feel like the highest conversion initial batch of users will be people who are in crypto, just because like explaining the concept of perpetual to like a layperson, even someone who's like a prosumer in finance, is really tough to do. Like anyone that hasn't seen this sort of instrument before, like I don't know, like Robinhood makes all their money in options, but the amount of like copy that they have on their app explaining how an option works is ridiculous, because these financial instruments are quite complex. So we think the initial user base that we get is crypto, in which case we have a lot of like KOL activation sort of stuff. We really want to take over the time on X for crypto Twitter, and make sure like CT, and make sure that CT is like super aligned with us. But then, after we have like the first like 10 to 1,000, 100 to 1,000 users, I think that, going direct to consumer with UGC, our hook is basically you post about financial assets, and if your ideas are good, you make money off of them because we pay you a referral, right? I think that's a really compelling hook for UGC, and we'll obviously A/B test and figure out the best way to get virality there. But we do think that the app is actually quite useful for regular people, which is not the case for a lot of other trading terminals and mobile apps. So we will definitely be going with UGC and after just a little bit after we launch, essentially.
Yeah, you mentioned testing a few things out. Do you have any test cases, or like what's the signal for you guys on, hey, people want to share their thesis and they want to be rewarded for it? Maybe it's a silly question, but I'm just curious on like the signal for you guys that made it click in your heads where it's like, okay, social trading, it's a big narrative and we want to kind of get ahead of it.
So I think we actually are a little bit more vision based about that. I guess like both of us. So as a refresher, I used to work on Instagram stories. Raf is a guy who worked in traditional finance as like a quant developer. Both of us are not super crypto like native from our previous jobs. I've just been using crypto as a retail user essentially for like the past 10 years. But I think like we separately in like 2025 or so, like last year, we saw like the Clarity Act and all the sort of regulatory clarity, and real world assets coming on chain. And simultaneously, we see the execution of a bunch of other existing incumbents and how we think they're not up to scuff. And so we have a pretty high conviction that simultaneously you see like social trading tools have a lot of product market fit. Like there's no denying that FOMO has a lot of volume, right?
Right.
We just think that, because I have like a social platform, social background, there's ways to make a social network in a way that doesn't feel like you're only opening the app to like get alpha or go and trade. Every single social trading tool right now is all strictly for getting alpha and what other people are trading. But, we separately see all the energy you see in Wall Street Bets where people are posting their gains and losses, they're having fun with it. And so we think that like we want to be able to capture the energy that you see on a free platform like Wall Street Bets, but integrate trading on with it together in the same app. And I don't think anyone's doing that right now. So regards to your question about A/B testing, for the overall vision, we haven't really A/B tested that. That's like purely the A/B test is the go-to-market for the entire product. But for the hook testing, that's pretty much just operationally like how do we get the highest return on our ad spend, or like highest return on like activating people in UGC, and that's basically seeing how viral goes and seeing the conversion rate. That's pretty operational.
Curious on how you guys are working with ICM.Run as an incubator, and if you guys are raising capital and how that relationship has been for you guys.
Yeah, so we've been working with Mercy pretty directly, specifically talking about go-to-market. So I'm a little bit more creative native, but I have more of an engineer's background. The rest of our founding team is also really engineers. Our head of growth is more of like an e-com background, and Mercy's super crypto native, super savvy with the internet marketing. And so we're sort of like using him as a resource to really establish our go-to-market and making sure that we have a really solid plan, especially for the X side. And yeah, they're all operationally very excellent. And again, like we're not really a team that's all coming from crypto. We definitely haven't started crypto business before, and having their takes on it is super helpful. Also, in terms of raising, yes, we are opening a KOL round on Fair.Club. That is open right now. There's a website. The pre-launch deal. I don't know. Let me try to share my screen?
Definitely. Pop that up for everyone.
You see this? So we already have 350 committed, 350K committed, and we want to open this up to strategic angels, folks who are aligned and have distribution. Because again, we're kind of kickstarting a social network. This is sort of like a draft page, so don't worry about the details too much. But we want to make sure that we get folks that are aligned with long-term vision of Dapple, in with Dapple, and essentially excited to help the platform grow and also establish themselves on the platform itself.
Well, big congratulations on the 350K committed. That's a huge milestone. Any more info on this? Like, how can people participate? What's the valuation you guys are planning to raise at? How much are you planning to raise? Just any kind of details around this I'd be interested or curious to hear about.
Yeah, you can participate on Fair.Club. There's the min check size is like $1,000, so it's not too high. The FTV is like 30 million, so it's pretty high, but that's because we have a lot of momentum already, and existing investors, and we basically want to manufacture a very solid launch moment amongst folks on Twitter, and make sure that we can give it the highest possible chance of success. So because I don't know if you saw the demo like last month, but when Raf was on MCG, I think the product looks really good. It's only gotten better since then, especially on this type of fast trade. And we're going to keep chugging and making the product as good as possible.
And just to confirm, this is not for a token. This is for actual equity, like
this
in the
is
form
a
of a
safe
safe agreement, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is a safe. It is like a YC safe. There is a token side letter. We do not plan to launch a token anytime soon, though. That's we haven't thought about it at all. This is pure equity. I guess we did sort of explore sort of doing some like token / equity stuff previously, but like we essentially want the people that put money in the project to have not vaporware, and that's super important to us. So fully accredited investor sort of safety sort of thing.
Very interesting. I guess that kind of leads into the next question. Mercy had the special question that I want to ask everyone. What are your thoughts on tokenization? I don't think this necessarily means for you, because we kind of have your answer on that. But what are your thoughts on tokenization, I guess, in general?
Do you mean tokenization of businesses or like existing public equities?
Yeah, I guess the question was kind of up in the air. Is it scary? Do you think I guess people are getting scared away from tokenizing their businesses? Do you think tokenization is a good thing in general? Are you seeing a lot of it happen? I think it's a very open-ended question, but like,
yeah,
when I ask, what are your thoughts on tokenization? What comes to mind? What excites you? What scares you, etc.?
Yeah, I think regulatorily, as like someone who is a founder of a business, I think we can't quite tokenize, at least for us, for the regulatory posture. Like, we think it's a little bit too risky. That being said, obviously the token is a humongous, like amazing, like marketing material. I think the Pumpcade stuff was pretty interesting because that is at least a first step towards like making the token equity. But like, you know, you saw like the massive like market cap fluctuation and speculation, all that stuff that's kind of like being tested in prod right now, right? And so we're not quite there yet because I don't think we need a token to market. I think we're pretty confident in the flywheel of our business being good. At least we'll see when we launch. But yeah, I think it's useful for us. It's not that useful yet. Maybe in a couple of years. For public equities, though, RWA is super huge. Everyone should get access to global to equities everywhere, either through perpetuals or tokenized RWAs.
Okay, well, that's our time here. Any closing thoughts or remarks? We appreciate you coming up. Excited to watch this develop. Congratulations on the 350 so far. Anything you want to leave us with?
No, just stay in tune. We will probably open like an actual like beta. Well, first of all, we will be on the App Store in a sec. It is like an in-app wait list, but you know, we'll start letting people off. We're really kicking things in motion. I think when you try out the experience, the fidelity of the experience is going to be like a stepwise level above other experiences on mobile, we think. So really excited to get user feedback and really keep iterating on the product.
Love to hear it. Well, we appreciate you coming on. We'll be tapped in. Where can people keep up with you?
Twitter/Tridapital. We will probably, create a launch video in the next few weeks for that too. So,
all right, we'll be looking out. Thanks so much,
Something.
intern. Or
yeah,
I guess I can. Yeah.
See you, intern.
You see what's on the screen. And it's like you forget these people have names.
Yeah, I know. I forget the name though. You know, I'm bad with names. Mark, how we doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having us back, as always.
Yes, welcome back. It's been a quite the journey since we had you the first time. Pioneering the silver market. I'm not even going to do the disservice of trying to explain your business model for you. But Mark, maybe real quick, 1 minute pitch for everyone who isn't familiar with what you guys are building at Dominion Markets.
Yeah, sure. So we are, like you said, tokenizing silver, backed fully one-to-one by physical silver that we actually buy and hold on our balance sheet. So we provide yield, 24/7 liquidity, and like the last person said, we give access to RWAs to everyone around the world. My dog is literally sat and snored the whole time this space has been on for the last hour and a half. And then the time I go live,
no, you're good.
Kick off. Yeah,
that's how it has to go.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But okay, well, we appreciate you. We had you on not too long ago. You guys were doing a raise through Fair as well. Can you just give us some benchmarks, some milestones? How's that been? How have things been looking internally?
Yeah, to be fair, we kind of put a hold on the actual equity raise, and the reason for that is we think we know we've got a really strong product offering, but we want to demonstrate it before we raise. One reason is we want to bring in the right investors rather than just, random people that want to be on the cap table and maybe speculate on the price. But secondly, we think our proof of concept is going to be really strong. We are partnering with a few big people. We've got backing from Solana Foundation, Super Team in the UK. I was on a call last night with Anchorage Digital that want us to build on their custody solutions in the US. We've got regulated players that are working with us across the world. So we kind of, rather than raise right now, momentum was a bit slow. The market was a bit bearish as well. So we've kind of put that on hold just to focus purely on product market fit, users, and grow from there, improve the model.
How's that product market fit been?
Well, right now we are building up to the pilot. So you guys are getting some alpha. So we've actually bought our first batch of silver. So we've purchased just over 50K worth of silver, physical silver held in two places that I don't think we could give out right now. But they're held. The plan is to issue that in May, probably the start of May, on chain via Meteora. And then add to that and just continue to scale it up slowly but surely at first, just satisfying demand. What we want to do is we really want to distribute the tokens. So 50K is not a lot, but we're going to make it like a max buy type deal where people can only buy like $500. And what that allows us to do is we've got a lot of we've got a lot of eyes on us from regulators and from Security Commission and people like that. And we want to give them something we can show how it works. So we can say, this is how somebody buys it. This is how somebody stores it. This is how somebody sells it. This is the liquidity pool, and really make it as easy and like bite-sized chunks for these people because they're not crypto native.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How has the feedback been? Are you guys going to be at Coliseum, by the way?
We've entered Coliseum. We're not going to consensus, though, if that's what you're asking. So the feedback's been really strong. Like it's quite a tricky time because we actually are merging with a public company to go public on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So we have to be like super watertight on what we're doing. So that's why it's taken a bit longer than most launches. But for us, it's great because we're lining up all these connections so that it's almost like, we're building the kindling and the fire, and then we just need to light it. And when we light it, we think it's going to explode.
Can you tell me about this merger? I remember when we first talked, you had said we're looking to list on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and I'm a little unfamiliar with the details on listing on the Toronto Stock Exchange. It sounds like you can list a lot earlier, or people do list a lot earlier than they do on like the NYSE or NASDAQ or whatever it might be. Could you just explain kind of the details around the merger you're talking about and this listing you guys are looking into?
Yeah, sure. So the Toronto Stock Exchange is, I would say, and maybe this is a bit unfair, but I would say it's like the degen little brother of like the NASDAQ. They do like to speculate. That Canada's a big mining country, a big natural resource country. And when you invest in like mining stocks, especially the junior miners, you're basically buying a random altcoin and hoping for 100x. That's basically my take on it. But, Josh might have a better take on it. But that's the way it is.
It's accurate.
Because you're speculating. You're investing in a company and betting on them finding gold and silver.
It's the best performing index because it's all based out of consumer staples, utilities, and resources.
Yeah. I mean, you invest in a junior mining stock and they hit gold. You've hit gold because you bought them and it's a speculative bet.
Even when they do their drilling results. So I started trading by calling into BNN Market Call and knowing the different asset managers that covered these gold mining juniors. And I would see their drill results in their filings. And then I would bring it up on this TV broadcast with tens of thousands of people watching. And all of a sudden the stock would pump like 5%.
So basically the way a lot of the equities work is like the actual equity in the market or like live is so tightly constrained. It's like the equivalent of buying a meme coin where 75 to 85% of the meme coin supply is owned by like 3 or 4 people. So then obviously they release that they've just found gold, and then this 10% that's actually liquid just absolute moons. That's not why we're listing there. Just wanted to give somebody a background on the TSX. But the reason we want to be there is, one, mining is huge in Canada. Capital markets is huge, but they're starting to get that tokenization is the future. On top of that, it also gives us access to public markets, capital, to allow us to scale our treasury, because really we're positioning ourselves as a silver treasury company that has a tokenization arm to it that tokenizes the silver in the vault. So
so it's an RTO, which means reverse takeover. So you're backing into a shell company, basically, kind of like what is layman's term, that has money in a bank account, essentially, and a ticker. That's basically what it is.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. And I know this process because I worked for a public company that actually went through this. So, okay. And do you know roughly like what kind of assets that RTO process will generate for you in terms of liquid capital to go out and scale the amount of gold you have, or silver, sorry?
Yeah, so the idea is that we will do the RTO and do some concurrent financing. So we'll probably raise, we're talking about $10 million in concurrent when we list. So that will literally fund our treasury. But what that allows us to do is, like I was on a call earlier today with a company in the States. They do regulated vaults for accredited investors across the US, and they want to start us on a $2 million vault. Now, we need $2 million silver before we can do that. So this $10 million will actually get eaten up pretty quick.
What's your timing? What's your timing on this?
Hopefully we are a publicly traded company by the end of Q3. But right now we think the pilot is actually going to allow us to kind of showcase what we can do. And in the meantime, if the pilot goes well, we will raise some cash and just fund the treasury with silver, maybe grow to like $1 mil, $2 mil TVL. Because we are super confident. Like if you look at our team, who's on board, the partnerships we're talking to, the fact that Anchorage Digital asked us to build on their custody and brokerage stack, like that exposure alone would give us like millions of dollars in buy pressure.
Yeah, and they have a banking charter too, which is exciting. So the roadmap here is kind of like get this pilot out in the open. Hopefully maybe Dom and everyone kind of buys their $500 in silver, tests it out. You go to the OSC and say, hey, look, I think this is great. Then you say, maybe if it goes well, you do a bridge round or some sort of kind of interim financing. Now, will you do that on fair.club? Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. So we'll revert back to fair.club. So right now we kind of paused what we were doing on fair.club just until we can showcase what we've actually got. But once we've got it, we think we can protect our valuation. We can raise maybe from a VC instead of from like 25 angels. There's nothing wrong with angels, but obviously just long term it becomes a bit messier. And then every dollar in goes into buying silver to then tokenize it to grow the TVL.
Yeah. So, okay. And then you go do the RTO process and raise the big bulk of the capital. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess it comes
nailed it, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a great explainer, guys. So I guess my question becomes like, what's the actionable play here? If people want to get exposure, are they going to the Toronto Stock Exchange and trading this? Are they, going to waiting for Fair Club's next round? Like, what's, I guess, the most actionable thing you could give to everyone here?
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to be on, and I appreciate you guys giving us the time. So right now, because the vault is only 50K, it's going to sell out pretty quickly, right? So what we're basically doing is directing everybody to our website. It's dominion.market. You can join our Telegram. We're going to whitelist everybody in that group so that they get first access to the token when it comes out. 50K is not going to last long, especially, we've got partnership with Meteora, we've got Solana Foundation, we've got Super Team, we've partnered with a couple of advisory services, Hypernest out of Portugal and Bonk Advisory out of the UK. We pull all that firepower, like 50K is going to sell out in minutes. So we want everybody to be whitelisted. We want everybody to be in there to get access. And I think that would be cool.
Yeah, even here on your tweet, you said the future of real world asset is on Solana. You said on this tweet, the future of real world assets on Solana is closer than you think. Stay tuned. Something significant is on the horizon. Why are you guys choosing Solana as the chain to tokenize silver on? And how are you guys thinking about them as a partner, I guess?
Yeah, so there's probably two reasons. I'll start with the most selfish that was my background. So that was kind of where I had network roots and stuff like that. And it made sense to be there. Second, but the more important one is their tech is unbelievable. Like Meteora alone, especially for RWAs, is super. Their wallets are amazing. But then they also have like a full infrastructure in the background. They've got Super Team. They've got institutional people. They've got the Research Institute that's starting to put out really good, solid pieces of work. And they're working with real capital allocators across the world. So we were invited to a capital allocator event in London. It was a Thursday night. There was 400 people in that room, and they were all from like BNY, EY, the FCA. Like they were all super established businesses or regulators. And it was like, wow, this is what they can pull together. We think I'm really bullish on Solana. I'm really bullish on Solana pivoting a little bit and being the internet capital markets chain. And I think they've got everything set up to do it. And I actually think their history is like this meme chain was just basically an illustration of how they can scale with speed and transaction volume.
Interesting. I guess my final question is you earn yield on the silver that you hold, which is of course nice. When you see all these DeFi exploits and hacks going around and people seem to be losing faith, I guess, in a big way in DeFi, what do you have to say to those kind of people? And how are you guys, I guess, protected from something like this?
Look, I think we have to accept that DeFi is still in its infancy. And I also think with AI, hacks are going to happen no matter what world you live in. Like if Mythos gets released by Anthropic, I don't think some DeFi chain's the biggest thing we need to worry about. Somebody needs to worry about JP Morgan getting hacked and some big bank accounts getting drained. The problem is I think DeFi still has a trust issue because people aren't doxed. Transparency records aren't always up to date. But I think that comes from the investor. Like you need to do your own due diligence. There's a few, Tessera was on earlier, and Tessera is an amazing product, amazing platform, but they have everything that they say they have. I don't buy into this, that everybody's doing everything they possibly can to prevent these hacks. That's why we want to build the silver treasury first, because we could have just sold the token, then went and tried to buy some silver and then sell more tokens. But what happens when the guy phones you and says he doesn't have silver anymore? What do you just keep tokenizing and then catch up at some point? It just doesn't work. So I think people just need to be whiter than white. We want to be regulated and compliant. So we are doing everything from the ground up. It's slow, it's painful, and it's expensive. But we think long term it's going to bring in the real pools of capital that are going to supercharge the next wave of crypto adoption.
To an extent, your business also has the silver still in the vault, regardless of what happens on chain. So that's a little different than Bitcoin, for instance, when if it gets hacked, it's gone, right?
But you know what? There is a lot of the gold tokenization products, they earn the yield by lending out the gold.
Yeah.
Well, who owns that gold? Because if I've got a token, say I own the gold, but then you lend the gold out to a jewelry company to make gold jewelry, then who owns the gold?
Yeah. Well, not them. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the question from Mercy for everyone that joined today. His question was, what are your thoughts on tokenization?
Yeah, I think tokenization, like I said, I think it's the way we bring everybody into Web3, crypto, blockchain, whatever you want to call it. I think in 5 years, we won't talk about tokenization. It'll just be the way the world operates. I think RWAs on chain makes sense. I actually don't buy into this, that only certain things should be tokenized. I think everything should be tokenized because if there's a buyer for it, then it deserves to be tokenized. I think what we need to solve is regulation, secondary liquidity. And I think once we solve those two things, which I think we will solve, I think there's trillions waiting to come into the space.
Crypto Jones asked this question: is there a way to borrow against silver and still earn yield? So I'm assuming this would be someone holding silver. They are earning yield on it. Could you borrow against that silver?
Yeah, we think the borrow online market is going to be one of our biggest products that we launch. And yeah, there definitely will be. Yeah.
Okay, Mark. Well, fascinating. We're tapped in. We're watching this. I'm really interested to watch this Toronto Stock Exchange listing. You don't really see that story play out very often, where you have a crypto product go and list on the stock exchange, one like this. So I'm fascinated. I'm going to be paying attention. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys. As always, you guys are great. Thanks for having us.
Cheers, Mark.
Peace.
All right. We have Go Save. I think this is both Ted and Tony. Tony, if you can give me a thumbs up. Tony.
Hey, Tony, can you hear us? Not sure how connection's holding up.
Hey,
Ted, can you hear us?
Guys, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can. Oh, Ted, can you hear us?
So we have one of them with us. No, that's okay. I can sit here and juggle for a little bit, like a circus clown or something.
Tony, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Good. You're at a conference right now. Where are you at?
I'm in Los Angeles at a trade show for food and beverages right now. That's what I do. CEO of a beverage company also. So we're here selling our product. Excited to join you guys today. This is cool.
Absolutely.
How's that beverage business going? Before we get into this, I think that's really interesting business that you have there. Like, how much product do you guys sell and what kind of beverages?
Yeah, it's a coconut water based drink. So we have different flavors. We have major distribution scaling pretty quickly. We'll 5x revenue year over year. Next year, going into 27, we're projecting to 3x revenue from this year. So yeah, business is going great. We got a lot of market fit and actually founded GoSave about 2 years after we founded this company, just out of a involvement my other co-founder and I, John Spinner, had through a nonprofit. We wanted to figure out a way to innovatively raise money for that nonprofit. And the business today it's like a different it's like a different book almost, right? So it's totally different. It's evolved a lot. And I think we now have something that's really exciting. So if you actually go to letsgosave.com as well, this is letsgosave.io, but the commercial site, letsgosave.com, that's our customer facing site, which people are going to be able to buy hotel rooms on. So you see here, we have over 1 million hotels in inventory around the world. And then what we've done is we have a strategic person on the team as well. His name's Ted Mooney. He might be able to join here, but Ted has a great background in the travel and rewards space. He used to be the president of American Express Vacations. He was the first employee at a company called Dosh that had about a $300 million exit in the reward space. So Ted is one of the biggest drivers behind us actually getting the deals that you see on this site. And essentially what we're doing is we're taking the commissions that we make on these hotel rooms and we're giving it back to the user in the form of our GoSave points, which we call our goodie points. And then there is a broader plan to tokenize this business. And we're working with the ICM team and of course, looking to the Clarity Act and, you know, no pun intended, getting more clarity on what those regulations are going to look like before we move forward with that. But for now, we think we have a great opportunity to push this out in the market. We're about to turn the jets on as far as marketing and actually driving revenue to the site. And the plan is by the time we are ready to tokenize it, we'll have a good customer base behind the business, adding value and just go up from there. Ted, did I miss anything?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can
sound
hear you.
good.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, my audio for whatever reason every now and then it cuts out and I can't hear you guys. No, I think you nailed it. You know, Tony, the ability for us to get access to those what we call closed user group pricing is what's allowing us to get these highly discounted rates and be able to pass the majority of that onto the user. And a closed user group, what that means is, you know, somebody has to be behind like a login, so a username and a password. And once you're in that type of environment, then you can have access to these rates. Otherwise, you will not see them in the open market. So we're pretty excited we're able to get to those rates.
And who has access to these APIs for this? It seems like this is quite the moat, and it's very relationship based, and it's kind of you're in the room or you're not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been in the travel space for 30 plus years. The last two companies that I was involved with, it was in the travel space for the last 10 years. But prior to that, I was, like Tony mentioned, I was with a company called Certified Vacations. We operated vacation programs for Delta Airlines, Continental. In fact, I'm dating myself now. Continental Airlines, AAA, American Express. So just over the years, I've maintained all of those relationships. So yeah, we've got multiple connections at the Expedia Priceline and some of the other wholesalers that we have access to. So there's probably 6 or 7 different connections that we have, so that we're able to bring all that data in, decipher which one is the best opportunity for the customer as well as ourselves, and be able to display that to the customer. So yeah, you definitely have to have the connections in the space to get access to these rates.
Yeah, and as someone who's been deeply entrenched in this world for so long, has all this experience, I'm curious to know, like, what's the current issue with points programs?
I think I mean, for me, I don't know, Tony, if you want to elaborate it right now. I mean, but points, it gets to the point, no pun intended there, that what are those points, valued at? What is the end return for the customer? Do they understand what the points, are? What does that equal, and what's the benefit to them? And a lot of times, to be honest with you, these points go unused. And we believe in this environment, to the end consumer, that these are going to be significant dollars that they're actually going to be getting converted into points. I mean, you're probably looking at anywhere from $30 to $50 per night in actual cash that someone's going to earn. So it's definitely a high value, to the end consumer. And look, they're traveling, right? I mean, they're going to be able to use those points for future travel. So if I've got 500 points, I can go in there and book a hotel for 500 bucks and not have to pay anything. We're going to simplify the site a little bit so that we show what an actual point is worth and what the conversion is. So it just makes it simple for the user. So simple, stupid.
Yeah,
And our CTO Adrian just joined too. If you want to let him onto the feed here, he can get into a little bit of the tech stack. But yeah, I think one of the innovative things we have going on is that we do have an AI expert on the team. To put it into perspective, we had a dev team working on this for the better part of a year, and Adrian in a month has made like over 2,000 code commits using AI. He's developed a internal super agent named Goody, who's essentially turning into almost the AI CEO of GoSave, which is really exciting. So we're a very AI forward company, and a lot of that's going to come out and what we're doing with the market and the go-to-market plan as well. Just how we can kind of be quick at the tip of the spear, and Adrian can get into that a little bit. But I think everyone here would like to hear about the go-to-market strategy as well. We have built some email servers. We have a mission at the company where we are benefiting a cause in the grander scheme of things, to where we can reach out to people. We have a database of close to 2 million nonprofits that we're going to market this to so that they can book their travel through GoSave. And we think that we're going to get a lot of traction through that. Adrian, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
The go-to-market piece.
Yeah.
So we have a multi-layered approach, but primarily it's focusing on repeat customers, and a lot of that would be harnessing the corporate/organizational model. From the nonprofit side of it, we're looking at being able to compound returning traffic using the fact that nonprofit, like a part of the goodie points that are being earned, can be dedicated to your favorite nonprofit, as well as from like the corporate travel perspective, both non organizations or companies can use our platform and either earn like points back to get free travel, or be able to dedicate those points that essentially transform into cash for nonprofits. So then that's part of that like do good model. So that way we're not just focused on bringing value that's monetary, but also bringing value that's actually going to help transform and make society a better place.
So I do want to touch on this real quick, because I think I understand the model here. And I think I understand the go-to-market. It's reach out to all these corporates and do these, repeat trips, do them over and over again. And also, by the way, you can use these points that can go towards a nonprofit. So that's going to help your taxes, because you can write that off as some sort of dollar amount. Is that okay?
You nailed it. And then we're something that's broken with the point space too is, with your Delta points, you can really only use those to book new flights, right? So if you go on our site, Adrian, I don't know if you have it live in the web version of the site yet, but if you view it on the mobile, you can actually see our rewards section. And we're giving you the ability to spend your points, not just on travel, but we actually have an Amazon API. So you're going to be able to buy things on Amazon with your points. And then we also have a patent for our points architecture as well. It is pending right now. But essentially what we're going to be able to do is we've gone through the compliance, we've gone through the necessary due diligence. We're going to be able to offer yield on the points, so your points actually grow and pace with inflation. So if you are the type of person that isn't going to spend your points right away, they're not losing value to inflation, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a new way of looking at points. And it's interesting. You see, like I'm seeing a lot of these, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, it cut out on me for a little bit there.
All good, all good.
But yeah, it is on web. The menu item just shows up when you click on a hotel. It's not in that hero banner.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of these deal sites pop up, like Trivago deals, and there's a myriad.
Dom fell prey to a deal site that
I've worked,
Works,
I've
but
used, yeah, deal sites can get interesting. Sometimes they don't come through with the hotel. There's all sorts of different things. Why are so many people trying to get in this deal side of the business? Like, obviously there's some sort of profitability there that's just really enticing. But like,
Yeah.
what's bringing so much competition, and how are you looking at that?
Yeah, it is super profitable, and it's a really big market, right? I mean, there's hundreds of billions of dollars a year spent on hotel rooms. We just think the opportunity is that customer acquisition costs. Like, if you were to use traditional marketing to acquire a travel customer, it's about $90 per customer. If you just go with AdWords and methods like that. We think we're bringing innovative go-to-market approach to where we can capture the regular traveler, your person that's booking 20, 30 hotel rooms a year. So that's where we're going to invest the resources to grow our top line. And then from there, people are going to use it to also book their family travel, their personal travel. And it'll all kind of stem from the initial approach we're doing, going towards these corporates, nonprofits. My other co-founder, John, he's an insurance executive. Between his insurance products, he has roughly, I think he said like 100,000 agents around the country who sell, his types of products that we can get this into the insurance IMOs and really just start to hit that corporate customer, more of like a B2B sales strategy. And then from there, the B2C strategy will really flow out.
Dom, you're muted.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I said it's a really interesting business model. As for the other side, what's like an actionable tip, I guess you could give everyone here? I see like on the site, and we've had some platforms like this on before, but also it's like the points sometimes are over the value of the hotel that you're booking. How is that possible? How are you guys, I guess, like giving people back the most possible? And I'm just trying to understand that.
Well, if you look at, so a lot of those, like, as I was going through the data, I was like, even myself, like, I was like, I had the same question. And then I started realizing if you look at it and you'll start seeing where it's from. So a lot of those are like Vegas or travel destinations where there's like, they don't really, these companies, these hotels don't really care about the hotel itself. They care about you just coming in general.
Because
yeah, so like you book a hotel in Vegas through GoSave, you're essentially going to get a free hotel room and you'll actually make some money by staying at that hotel, which I don't think anyone's doing that right now.
Yeah, it's a wild concept. I mean, you can get a Vegas trip for practically free. Like, I mean, you look at the points
On
here,
the
and
house.
can you maybe explain the points a little bit here, right? There's like 42,000 for a $45 night stay, 276,000 points for a $296 night stay. They equate to pretty similar amounts here across the board.
Well,
yeah. What's the value of a point?
it's close to 1,000 to 1, like to $1. But so you gain at the top like the 37. So I'm on my phone. It's like small. But up there you get 6,000 points, or you pay 42,000 points. So you'd either pay like $40 ish. It's less than $40. Like you'd pay like 30 something dollars for that hotel. But there are examples like the casino. No, not that one. There are examples here and there. We've been looking into it to like actually have like a very dedicated like value proposition for situations that align with what you're saying. But what you're looking at the bottom is the comparison of paying in points versus paying in dollars.
Okay.
Because if you have points that you've accumulated, you'll pay like less than the market price, right? So you'd be paying like a $149 hotel you're seeing, 139,000 points is about hold on, let me see. 139,000. It's 140 $140. It's a little bit less, but
No, I can see it. The business model here is it's very, very powerful, very strong. I guess we're gonna get some closing thoughts here. Mercy proposed a question for everyone that would come after him, for just general thoughts on tokenization. How are you guys seeing tokenization happen? I guess in this case, it could even be the tokenization of points, which is a very novel concept. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we think it's where the market's going, right? I mean, really echo the last founder that was on. I personally don't have a crypto background. We're just operators. I mean, I think that's to say for everyone on our team, and we're really leveraging the ICM.run team to help us make the right decisions when it comes to tokenization. But I'd say for traditional operators like ourselves, we feel like this is where the cheese is moving and we want to be a part of it. We only think that if we can grow a business here that can succeed on its own without tokenization and then mix tokenization into our business model, we feel that it's something that the crypto community can really get behind as well.
Totally agree. Any actionable tips for everyone in here right now? How can they, I guess, get ahead of this business model? How can they go and use the platform? How can they follow you guys? Like, what's the call to action here?
So I'd say follow us on our X. We haven't really posted anything on there just yet. We are bringing on a social media manager over the next couple weeks, so we will start to push more updates out there. As far as booking hotels, we'll put it on our X when you can go and do that. And then, yeah, I think as far as travel tips go, if you want just the cheat code, book your hotel rooms last minute. When you book them way out in advance, you're not going to get as good of a deal. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but that'll be the same that holds true for our site as well. Like the people who book points or book the hotel, a day or two before the stay are going to save the most money.
Actually, interesting you say that because we had just booked our hotels for Miami here, going to some of the conferences, and I looked at those same hotels because my buddies were asking where I was staying. It's like $40 cheaper right now
Yep.
for them. So
You're nailing it. Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's counterintuitive, right? It's the opposite of flights. Like for flights, you got to book them way in advance, and then you get screwed if you book them the last minute. Hotels book them last minute, and you save the most money.
Hey, that is alpha. I love the tips here. We'll be following you guys. Also love the travel tips. My like Instagram reels and TikTok feed has become travel tips and like credit card recommendations. I love the travel tips. So maybe even as
Yeah,
like a
we're going to be
strategy.
doing it. One of the marketing things we're going to do is we're going to give, we're going to hold a contest. We're going to give some people some money to go travel the world and use GoSave to book the hotel rooms and kind of create like a fun 30-day story with people who have good personalities. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're all marketers, we're all business people, and really we're thankful the crypto community's embracing us. Not sure why Mercy and the team like us, but we're all about it.
Well, we're all about it. The only regret here is that I didn't book, our hotel for consensus with GoSave. Next time though, it's in our back
Yep.
pocket. So
All
very
right,
cool,
guys. See ya.
guys. We'll have to catch you all again to hear more about the AI stuff, but yeah.
See you guys. All right. Dom.
There it is.
Done.
That was 6 teams. Yeah, congratulations. That was the whole ICM.run update. Dominion's third appearance. Yep.
Yeah, it is third appearance, but he actually had a fair amount of pivots and updates. Look, guys, like we want to be helpful to people that are doing interesting things. ICM Run is a longtime supporter of our work. And so, we'll do these kind of, waterfall 1.5 hour sessions where we just get 15 minutes team quick updates in, because, you never know. You don't know, like, there's some tokenization companies that are doing resource stuff on the TSX, and some of them, are worth a lot of money. So, you just never know. Want to put it out there. But yeah, love to see where ICM Run is headed. I think they've found a good floor and are building strong.
Agreed. Yeah, some interesting business models here. We'll do a quick little recap, real quick, I guess, before we get into it. It looks like Kled and Street just made a pretty big announcement we're going to dig into. Yeah, got some stuff to talk about. GM
Breaking news. Breaking news right now on Cled. Let's cover it because it's candling a little
All right,
bit.
breaking Cled news brought to you by Trojan. You guys can trade Cled if this news is fascinating to you guys at trojan.com/@MCG or scan the QR code in the bottom left corner. So let's get into it. I'll check out the chart here. It is candling a bit. We know it's been sideways in this range for a while. This box has been historically the box I've been looking for. And now we are just moving up 14.5 million market cap. What's the scoop? Okay, so I got this tweet up from Avi. Let's just get into it. Cled tokenomics. We finally got the tokenomics update. I'm also going to pull up the street video. It looks like they dropped. Maybe I watch this first. Let's see.
Got the tokenomics update after shaking the tree and getting everyone out of their Cled.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it, man.
Shake the tree, and now tokenomics update. All right.
All right. Well, Street posted a video. Cled X Street. Street Frontier 2 now has the rights to buy up to 10% of Neutrality Inc., the parent company of used Cled, with the current position of 5% in shares. Cled has committed 100% of Cled trading fees to the Street Frontier 2 SPV, which are then reinvested into Neutrality Inc. by the Street SPV. Cled token holders don't have to do anything. No need to KYC. No need to lose your liquid tokens. No need to get rid of liquidity. No cutting out 98% of token holders. Welcome to the future. With this safe, the equity value held by Street Frontier 2 comes up to about $14 million based on the latest raise of Neutrality. Cled hereby participates in the ERCS framework. Let's watch the video, and then I got some takeaways for y'all.
Oh man, can you try volume?
No,
is it on mute?
Loving
Is it
the
on
audio.
mute? Oh my
Jeez
gosh,
Louise, dude.
Dude, that's your end. That is on your. You gotta figure out your browser settings or something. There's.
I guess, dude. Whatever. Run it back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have takeoff. We have a takeoff.
We remember the moment, the countdown, the fire, the launch. But history is made long before anyone looks up. In signals, in measurements, in patterns, in all the quiet, boring data no one remembers. Every breakthrough on the frontier begins there, not in the spectacle, in the information beneath it. Because before anything changes the world, someone has to see what others don't. And that has always started with data.
ValuableTokens.com. Wow, cool.
Interesting. They got that handle, ValuableTokens.com.
Do you want to go? Can you go to that site?
Sure. Let's do it. Tokens.com. Boom. Site can't be reached. Yep. I don't know. It's not responding to me right now. Either way, all good. Let's read what Avi has to say about this, because Cled just made their post. Initial takeaways. I'll give it a second. Okay. Let me just understand this better. Cled tokenomics, the non-L1 token that scales like one. Ooh, the non-layer 1 token that scales like one. Okay. This took longer than expected, and it's taken us several very necessary months to work through. Here are the full Cled tokenomics.
Maya just in the, yeah, keep going.
What? The problem with non-L1 tokens, for any token, the goal is simple. As a network grows, token value grows with it. This is how multi-billion-dollar token networks are created. Everything else will eventually go to zero. Yes, we know this to be true. Layer 1s can engineer this natively. As ETH transactions spike, gas fees are used for the token burns, which drive the price and incentivize more builders and transactions. One loop. There's clear intrinsic value in the token that scales with the network, right? We've talked about the network effects and the importance of this. We don't need to get into too much details, but I'm going to read this. Let's see. How long is this? Let's see. Yeah, pretty long. So I'm not going to read through all the token, through all the stuff about network effects, because we're familiar with it. Blah, blah, blah. So they're looking to create a network. Cled is not an L1 for crypto company. It is a real product valued at $280 million with real users and the end goal of an IPO. Most startup tokens are pure narratives. The company could not exist without it. The product would still work without it. At scale, a poorly structured token can become a distraction to a real revenue generating company. Okay, the goal of CLED is as follows. Create a token that accrues real value as the network scales in size and transactions, replacing the gas fee and burn mechanism of an L1 with buybacks and burns without hurting the business. Create a token that materially benefits the CLED business itself, not just through narrative or marketing, something that holds real value to the business post IPO or exit as coordinated rewards mechanisms. Okay, so two things to take away here. They want a token that scales with the business, and they're going to use buyback and burn mechanisms to do so. And then also, they want a token that has clear value, real value to the business post IPO. Okay, interesting. If either of these are untrue, the token fails like Axie. Either you do buybacks for no reason and burn revenue to pump a useless token, or you have a real token with real use case but no value accrual. So the token becomes worthless regardless. Buyback and burns are now on every transaction. Okay, this is what's important here. Buyback and burns are now on every transaction. What would make CLED token very valuable is if we know how many users they have. We know how many users are going to come with Android, and how this will continue to grow. If we can actually have buybacks and burns and a piece of every payout coming back to the mechanism, now we have something interesting. Truly a token that grows with the platform. This is what I'm interested in. Let's see if they can nail this. We gamified the entire CLED app, a full level system where higher pay tasks and rewards are gated behind your account level, ensuring the most complex and highest paying work goes to the most trusted contributors. That makes sense, of course. Anything to decipher here?
That solves the spam problem. That was what he said last time, or not spam, but maybe low value contribution problem was a big thing he was optimizing for.
I'm thinking Maya said what about the valuabletokens.com site not working. Nonetheless, yeah. So this solves for quality, right? You don't want low quality uploading and taking these contracts. You want the high quality taking the contracts. So the more you contribute, the better access you get. Makes sense. And obviously that's like, I think, somewhat token gated or points gated. Users earn XP to level up by completing tasks. Oh, here it's explained. Hitting streaks, unlocking achievements, and converting their cash earnings into XP directly. A user with access to entry-level tasks can invest $20 of their balance to level up and unlock tasks paying up to $150 per single completion. Right? Makes a lot of sense. We've begun working with a major foundation model that are actively receiving tasks paying $1,000+ per single completion. These include anonymized tax and W-2 forms for data collection, expense management, and budget sheets, anonymized medical history, and others, blah, blah, blah. The network, 300,000 contributors across 170 countries, over 1 billion uploads processed to date, over 5 million uploads per day. We'll see. Total payouts already exceed millions of dollars per year. We get that. Across gig platforms, high-end users make up roughly 15% of any platform's user base, but drive the overwhelming majority of volume and output. We are targeting a network of millions of these high-level users, actively converting millions of dollars per month into levels and gamified. Okay, so the flywheel here is high-level users, the people that are earning, will now have the ability to upgrade their tasks, do more, and of course, hopefully put the tokens back into the ecosystem. When a user converts their balance into XP, they are forfeiting that cash and becoming a higher quality, more committed contributor with access to higher paying tasks. CLED captures that as a platform revenue and reinvests it into the token. Officially, 100% of all dollars converted into gamified rewards into the CLED app will be used to market, buy, and burn CLED. Okay, let me break this down. 100% of all dollars converted into gamified rewards in the CLED app will be used to market buy. If a user purchases $50 in app XP, we will market buy $50 of CLED. 50% of that market buy, 25% or $25 is permanently burned from the supply. The other 25% remains as bot supply. Okay, so half of it is going to go, it looks like, into a CLED treasury as bot supply. The other $25 will be burned. So if I want to upgrade my tasks, hey, my name's Dom, I just did a $20 task, I want access to the $150 tasks, I can now, take that $20, or let's just say $50 that I made, and I can, or I can go and purchase $50 of XP to upgrade to the tasks, half of which will go to full thing will be bought back, half of which will be burned. Okay, that makes sense. It'll be interesting to see the numbers and metrics of people meaningfully, I guess, buying XP or converting to higher tasks. That'll be a big signal. All market buys will be routed through the Meteor fee pool. Blah, blah. The Universal Fraud Detection Protocol, UFDP, powered by CLED. Okay, this is new. Now we know a big thing for Avi was this fraud detection protocol. He was very focused on nailing this. I'm trying to see how it's powered by CLED. Data marketplaces like CLED provide billions of data points to AI labs. Raw data is worthless without quality control. Before any data point enters a training pipeline, it needs to be validated, and validating billions of data points at scale is one of the most expensive problems in AI. Okay, I'm thinking I have an idea what the other $25 of the 50 is going to go towards. Introducing UFDP.ai, a free CAPTCHA service for any website that replaces a standard CAPTCHA with a real data validation task pulled directly from CLED's data pipeline. Instead of clicking traffic lights, users are shown a real anonymized data point that needs a human judgment call. Install the extension, connect your wallet, and you get paid in CLED every time you solve
huge.
correctly.
That's how Google trained a lot of their self-driving car stuff, was training it on clicking stuff like that.
This is where the CLED. Okay, I can see how this is powered by the CLED token, and of course, then you get back to the system where it's like bad actors get docked CLED, good actors get rewarded CLED. Let's see, for companies that CAPTCHA service is completely free. For users without the extension, it works exactly like a normal CAPTCHA. They just don't get paid. For users with the extension, every correct validation earns CLED. Each question is shown to a cluster of at minimum 50 people simultaneously. If 47 say the answer is X and 3 say Y, it is X, and 47 get rewarded. The 3 take a trust score hit, their pay multiplier drops, and they get flagged for close review. The most trusted contributors earn the most. The bad actors get priced out. Makes sense. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, and it's a good way to democratize what's it called? It's a good way to democratize and really prove out this fraud detection protocol. People are now incentivized to combat fraud. Every data point CLED sells to an AI lab has been validated by a decentralized network of contributors powered by CLED. The token is the engine running CLED's quality control pipeline. That makes sense. The remaining 50% of every market buy, the other 25% from every $50 converted funds the UFP. Yeah, that's a good mechanism. That's a good mechanism. So half of the buybacks go towards funding this protocol. Makes sense. Long-term alignment. Let's read this. Naturally Inc., the entity that owns CLED AI, has now raised upwards of 10 million to date, with our seed round accounting for nearly 7 million, with the most recent check coming in at 280 million. Yep, these are investments into the SAFE agreements. Today, we announced our partnership with Street Foundation. Up to 10. This part's interesting. Up to 10% of equity of Naturally Inc. has been reserved for the Street Global Foundation, representing up to $28 million as its last raised valuation if fully exercised. Street is an independent third party that builds ERCS frameworks. Illegal, we know about Street. When a company exits via acquisition, merger, IPO, token communities are typically cut out entirely. Street changes that. The operating company CLED is shareholder of record SPV, the CLED token community, which remains outside. Okay. Street SPV currently holds 5% equity position in Naturality via safe agreement, representing $14 million stake, with the other option to participate up to an additional 5% in all future price rounds. So up to 10% equity in Naturality here. Currently 5% is committed. And we know that all additional fees are going to be going back into the treasury that will be used to actually purchase additional equity at future price rounds. We are committing 100% of our CLED trading fees to the Street SPV. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. How many trading fees would need to generate to, I guess, complete that purchase of the additional 5%? Of course, depending on the valuation that they're getting this at. But
well, let's say at $1 billion, you would need 50 million in fees.
Okay. 2% in and out on each side. So 2% of
Want me to
all
do some
trading
chat
volume.
GBT?
Yeah, 2% of all trading volume. And then, but half of that, I think, goes to, okay, I don't know, roughly 1% of all trading volume, I think, will go towards this treasury, which will be used to buy back CLED at price rounds by Street, which will just which will increase the equity that token holders get. So right now, the represented equity on chain is 5%. At some point, over an indefinite period of time, I guess you could assume that it could possibly get up to 10%, is the idea here. And then you have the gamification of the flywheel.
All right, let's see. So you would need, in total trading volume, you would need about 1.25 billion to generate 50 million in fees.
It's a big number, but over a lifetime of a token, like Clad especially.
Yeah, and I chose I chose the 5% at $1 billion, which is 3 times the size of their current raise, just to note. So like accounting for markups in future raises, because I think he wanted to eye like 700 by the end of the year. So just to build in that buffer, but it's probably less than 50 million you would need, or sorry, less than 1.2 billion. But if it's fully done over the coming year and a bit, you'd need somewhere.
Interesting. I wonder how much volume they've had to date. Certainly well over 100 million.
Well,
I mean, they're probably like, if you can find out wherever that data is going to be.
Yeah, you can do that by, if you go to Dex Screener and you choose, let's say, 1 month candles, and then I can see here, and you go search, it's on market cap, USD, volume.
Now that's just through the one pool though.
Yes, it is through the one pool. But I mean, it's the main pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first month, 44, so 37. So that's 81, 90. So you're at 120. So you're at not as much as you'd think. Probably about $140 million in trading volume since May 1st of 2025.
That's when they launched.
Yeah, through this pool, which I'm assuming this is the big one.
Yeah, we would need checks on that. I wonder if the team would have a number to publish, but they've done 150 million in volume, so about a little over 1/10 of what they need over their lifetime to fulfill this additional 5% at $1 billion valuation. I like how you accounted for it at the $1 billion valuation. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's not out of the picture. Like the on-chain, I guess, on-chain value prop is that this 5% grows to 10% over time, and then in theory, it should always be markets forward looking, so it should always be trading at a premium to what we're seeing. In this market, it's gonna be really tough to get that kind of volume, but if the flywheel is nailed and people are transacting with Clad in and out, that's also additional volume pumping through the platform.
You also got to think like, if this hits the numbers that they're thinking about, and you're valuing it like an L1 because there's L1 type activity on there, but you're not, it's more than a consumer app that people, I guess, think it is a consumer app token. I mean, $1 billion in volume is not out of the question.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. I do like the framing here of the L1 as well, where it's like, okay, you use a token within the network to have all these different, do perks, do these things, buy things, whatever. And it could meaningfully, I guess, even just through the platform, drive $1 billion in volume at some point. Maybe that's I don't know, wishful thinking, but I can see it. I can see the vision. Colette has a 35 million plus data purchase pipeline, and enterprise relationships across the world, leading to AI labs. As the business scales, we have established a discretionary buyback program funded directly from company revenue. Bought back tokens are used for, I wonder is it more valuable to do buybacks or to put that money just towards the treasury to grow that equity? I don't know. Bought back tokens are used for team and contributor grants on a vesting schedule. No bought back supply is ever sold back into the open market by the company. These buybacks can also be used for UFDP rewards to further bootstrap and decentralized networks. Okay, makes sense. Adjustments and future improvements. This is a long thread, boys, but it's important. Everything described here represents what we are today. These mechanisms will evolve as we reserve the right to adjust any of them at any time. The gamification buyback and burn mechanism is the area we expect to experiment with the most. The current structure, 100% of XP purchases market bought and 50% burn, is our starting point. If adjusting the burn ratio or gamification buyback mechanism drives better user retention or more fee pool activity, we will make those changes. Okay, good. Looking to optimize. The UFDP is just getting started. This is really interesting. Like this, if they can actually get meaningful payment to contributors for this, and they can get a lot of contributors, this is going to be a really interesting fraud detection program. We are exploring the ability for contributors to lend compute directly to our AI fraud detection network as an additional form of contribution reward. We plan to build a suite of tools in the future with CLED as a central currency. Okay, interesting to see what spins out of that. Fraud detection, compute to centralized data storage. The caption network scales first. Huh. There it is. Tab back to the token. The token's getting attention from this. I mean, like, we talked about how freaking cheap it was at 10 million market cap. Like, yeah, I mean, just doing
We'll have to pull that clip out because we did have a specific clip that was on last week.
I mean, there were so many clips. I mean, this thing got down to 10 million market cap. Of course, like, granted, no one knew what the equity was going to be released at. If it was 5%, if it was 10%, if it was 50%, if it was 1%, no one knew. So it is a little hard to trade, but, like, you know, speculators at 10 million market cap, you know, yeah, that put the company at a 200 million perceived valuation, which was, you know, significantly lower than what's at, or the last.
Yeah, but this is like, I think everyone did that math. I don't think everyone thought the tokenomics. I think the tokenomics makes this way different of a, you got to value it differently.
So I guess, yeah. So I guess, what does that mean? The 5% that's currently on chain set to grow, that's like, I guess that does that become a floor, and this should trade at a premium because of the network effects, and then the network effects will determine how much of a premium, right? Of course, as if we get $1 billion going through, then obviously the token should fly, because that of course increases equity, as well as just you know, token buyback and burn.
So it seems like it's at the floor now. So 5% of 280 million is
call it 300 million for simplicity.
14 million. Yeah, but I mean, it's 14 million to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
15 million for unsimplicity. But yeah, it's at its floor now. So you could say this is the absolute floor for what investors got into, you know, like actual investors.
Okay, so let's do this then. Let's do a bull case, bear case, bull case, what's it called? Mid case and bear case, base case, bull case, base case, bear case on CLED here. We'll start with the bull case. Why not? Bull case for CLED is, okay, Avi said his plans here are to go raise at a 700 million valuation next. They just need to get 30 million reoccurring revenue, I think was the number he spit out for us. So bull case is go on, you know, raise the 700 million round series A, you know, raise the 700 million valuation. This reprices 3x just off the equity alone. And then also, I guess the bull case would be user growth. So, you know, if they do have a meaningful amount of people come through and start using the platform, contributing to buybacks, contributing to the treasury that's going to buy more equity. So bull case becomes, okay, up to 10% CLED. So if they raise at $1 billion, putting this at 100 million valuation at the floor. Again, this is a bull case, guys. And then plus additional network effects. So I would say bull case, you know, in the relatively near term, assuming they want to raise by the end of the year, which is what Avi has stated. So bull case, 100 mil by end of year. And I would even say that's a pretty refrained bull case for me. If you include network effects and this thing really blows up, maybe higher. So we'll say bull case, 100 mil. Base case, I think they go on and raise another round. You know, at this point, they've raised it over 250 million. I think they can get that up to 500 pretty easily. Let's assume the base case is they stay at around 5% equity on chain. There's some buybacks here and there, but it's nothing crazy, and they go and raise the next round around 500 million. Base case, I think, becomes for me, well, 50 million is 10%, so 25 million. I think 25 million becomes a pretty base case, right? So that's right here. So 25 mil base case. That's assuming the 5% equity stays. So that's an additional 73% from here. Then bear case, I guess bear case you could say is 14 mil, current floor, current raise. All growth stops. They take months to kind of pivot and refine product market fit. You know, short term, we're doing short term bear case for, I guess, 14 mil it would be then. right? So there it is. There's my official take. Short-term bull base and bear case for Kled. It's short-term bull case, 100 mil, assuming that they go and raise at a higher valuation, that Street buys more equity, and that the network effects work. Of course, that's like this is by end of year. Base case is 25 million, assuming they go on to raise at a $500 million valuation. Maybe the Street SPV buys in at that next price round. They get an additional 1 or 2% at that round. So base case becomes like 25, 30 million. And then bear case, I think, is here at like 14, 15 million. If all things go stagnant, the market doesn't really work. I like my position in Kled here, is all I'm saying. I think that was a fair, completely unbiased approach. What do you guys think? I hold Kled, but as someone who, I like to look at things pragmatically, I think that was a pretty fair take. What would you say, Josh?
Yeah, no, good thesis. Well, yeah. Well, I don't have anything to add. I mean, I don't own Kled. I sold my Kled long time ago, unfortunately. So, but happy to watch Avi cook on this one.
Interesting market dynamics. Now, today's Thursday. Okay. So here's what I'll tell you on this. Interesting market dynamics. Because tomorrow we have Metalex on, who is working on the new ACE round, which is convert token to safe agreements. Maya, if you're in here, Lucas, interested on your thoughts there. I saw a lot of hate. I saw a lot of hate for it. I think it was a good model. Like, I think it's a pretty good model and great steps in the right direction. Now, of course, everyone I've seen really hating on it big time has had bag bias. I haven't seen a single person hate the model that doesn't have bag bias. But I think it's at least an interesting model at the very least. So curious to hear your thoughts, Lucas. You probably fit in the boat of people that disagree with it. Otherwise, you'd be doing it. But I think it's a pretty interesting model. We got Metalex on tomorrow to talk about that. See how it compares to something like Street. Again, we're getting into the point where it's like, this is real equity on chain, though. So it's like, it's progress.
Yeah, we're getting progress here. I'm like pretty happy with this. I like this.
Yeah, I think Bobby would be shocked right now to see that we're starting to get to this point.
Bobby would be blown away. He would have no idea that how this is possible. It's just
interesting
Bobby
stuff.
Bobby would be surprised. So, but hey, we'll see. We're on the frontier. We're going west, as Bankless would say.
Well, then we got two interesting, I guess, cases to watch here. At the very least, watch it to just see how this plays out. We have an official, 5% of Kled equity held in an SPV at about the fair valuation here, with room to grow. Let's see how people kind of adopt this model and enjoy it. And then on the other hand, we have Pumpcade doing something interesting as well, which interesting to see. Pumpcade is valued at 26.6 million, whereas Kled's valued at 14.5 million, and you can pretty safely say that Kled raised at a much higher valuation than Pumpcade. So I'm not sure if that's people enjoying the model, if this is a short-term speculative pump and we correct over time. It's too early to tell, I think, is the answer. But interesting nonetheless. Why bring attention to Pumpcade is because they're doing this ACE round where you can convert tokens into safes. It does have its drawbacks, like obviously the indefinite token supply kind of being recirculated is like a red flag, and there are things they need to address, I think, but it's the first time they're trying this, and I think they're under interesting circumstances. So let's see. Of course, thesis on Pumpcade was they probably raised around the $50 million mark. We don't know what that number was. Will funds, liquid funds, savvy investors step in, knowing that they kind of have a backstop of converting tokens to illiquid equity if they wanted to? It seems that that's kind of happened a bit here. And I think the numbers that have been converted are out, and they're pretty impressive. I mean, over $1 million has been converted from tokens now to equity. And of course, it gives the idea that, well, now we have a liquid alternative to equity. Of course, it's only open for a month, but assuming that can be opened at any point in time in the future when they do have further liquidity rounds, gives an interesting arbitrage opportunity to the downside, as well as gives the liquid asset a reason to trade at a premium. I would much rather have a liquid tradable asset than illiquid safe agreement, right? So two dynamics that we should be watching and paying attention to. Right now, Pumpcade is trading 26 million, despite looking to raise 10% equity in the token. So that would assume, a $260 million equity valuation is what people are assigning to at this level. Of course, we don't know what the token is going to be used for. Whereas Kled has 5% of the token, assigned, assuming about a $280 million equity valuation. So interesting experiments nonetheless.
I just saw on the timeline Blocks API. We had them on there like a Roblox dev thing, doing an ace round. Pumpcade commented on it. I would love to see more of these. I think we're going to start to see a bunch of these pick up now.
Love these experiments, boys. Let's go. Let's
like
go.
This is what Believe was supposed to be.
Yes.
It just was like so unclear legally, and everything tried was like kind of not. Yeah. Anyways, it's just we're a little closer.
Yeah, we're definitely a little closer. Okay, interesting stuff. Let me see if I can find Blocks API to see what they have to say. What valuation would you assign to this? I don't know. This is pre. Like I think it's a pre-revenue company, right? So it's kind of hard. You're investing very early stage, right? These are like pre-seed. I guess technically Pumpkin's at, it's seed stage, but this is like a pre-seed company. So metrics are. It's very hard to value. Like I wouldn't be putting much into most of these, not even a Blocks API personal thing. Like at a valuation over anything over like a couple million, to be honest.
Even then.
Yeah. Blocks. Let's see. Blocks ace round for strong holder / company value alignment. I hope they do more. I want to see people get into the territory where it's more than 5-10%, and we start seeing, especially at these early stages, people being able to offer, upwards of 15, 20, 30% of their company to token holders, to align holders. And there is value there. Like we saw it with Hype. When things are aligned, people will ride for your company. Blocks is extremely well positioned to capitalize on massive growth. I'm not going to get into it. What is ACE? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Join us on the show. Why I'm doing ACE. I launched Blocks in December, and a community formed quickly around the initial concept. When I expanded to a much larger vision, some were shook, but others stayed and dug in. They became a solid community, blah, blah, blah. The Blocks token and the company both have value drivers. You can read about the business fiat revenue plans and extension token utility in this article. Blocks has a small but very strong set of supporters. Okay. Let me see. Where's the numbers? ACE allows token holders who believe in the long term. Now, well, let's see. What's the Blocks token? Because we can get the value conversion on this.
It's just BLOXX, I think, or BLOX.
All right, let's see. For the sake of research. Okay, it is for the sake of research, man. This is trading at 1.1 million. Wow. People like it. Yeah. This is trading at 1.1 million. So assuming they give up like 10%, that gives the perceived value of the company a 10 million perceived value.
Let me
That's
see
steep.
when we
That's
had
steep.
let's see when we had them on MCG or
Okay. Let's get a better idea though. I hold a little bit of the token itself, having fair launched and slowly built up just to pass tack on 10% supply requirements using creator fees. With ACE, I gain token supply that I can use to support and grow the ecosystem. How does ACE? Okay, blah blah.
March 18th. What was that's when we had them on.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
0.00034. So that's gonna be
340K to that's a 4x.
At the peak, yeah. Okay, well, let me come back over here real quick. Another way to think of this ace round, I want to know how much supply he's taking in exchange for tokens here. Okay, I plan to raise up to 5% of circulating supply in tokens for exchange for 3.3%. See, like 3.33% equity represented in the token is
that's
it's nothing for a company that is pre-revenue. Probably doesn't. I don't think has raised any round. Maybe they raised a pre-seed here, led by Pump Fun, if that's what you want to call a 250 hackathon win. Overvalued.
Yeah, I think
objectively overvalued. I mean, we had a good conversation with the Blocks team. Like, again, I say this not trying to ruffle feathers, but like 3.33%. I mean, at a 1 million market cap with 10%,
it's that 30 million
that's
valuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a steep valuation, boys.
That's
But
steep.
nonetheless, we'll look at the market dynamics. It's interesting. People are clearly interested in this. And again, I think the interest for me comes in as, yes, like, okay, cool, the upside's one thing, but like there is downside protections if assuming you can convert at any time, to where if you get under a meaningful, if you get under their last raise or what you feel is perceived fair valuation, you can always get out of that liquid token and just hold the equity in the company, or hold a
Yeah.
safe agreement. Let me clarify, which is equity in the future.
Well, Dom, I don't know if you have anything else to cover. We're coming up on 3 hours here. I think we covered CLED as the news of the day.
Yes.
If there's anything else that you wanted to,
we should get Avi back on to talk about this a bit. And Maya, if you're still there, I really do want to.
do you want to just quickly message him, send him the link? See if he responds in the next 5 minutes. We could do it real quick.
I'll message him.
See if you have 10 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I guess the questions I would have for Avi is, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions. How we get that 5% up to 10%. How he expects, maybe not how he expects people to trade the token, if it should be trading at a premium to equity. Expectations for, I guess, next rounds. How the token flywheel adds, I guess, a premium feel on just the equity. Again, if you have equity exposure and you can trade it on chain, it's liquid, you should have some sort of premium to that. Now, of course, this is owned by an SPV, not you if you convert, but I do think there should be some sort of premium. But 3 companies experimenting with equity. One thing I do want to kind of look into is CPT on the other side, because you have this ace round by MetalX, who's doing an equity or safe agreements. You have Street, who's doing these safe agreements via SPV. And then you have SOAR, who's doing debt obligations. There's we see Pump Fund doing the ace rounds, or Pump Fund tokens, I guess, MetalX doing the ace rounds, and they're gaining attention. Like, we see the tokens doing well. Like, you just look at it. 5% is a slap in the face to long-term holders, in my opinion. Yeah, I would have liked more than 5. I think it's the idea up to 10% is nice. Yeah, we'll have to get him. I do think, like, ultimately my thoughts on this is when you look at CLED, I think there was people that funded it, multi 6 figures, maybe 7 figures in the early days. And I guess the feeling is, to get that kind of funding, you'd have to be writing away 10% to YC for a safe agreement. And so the same thing was achieved here through holders. So it definitely is on the low side, I think, of what people expected from CLED. Although the idea to execute up to 10% is nice. But Crypto Jones, I don't think you're alone on this. Nonetheless, we see these equity-esque models doing well, right? We see tokens pumping off of them. CLED, Pumpcade, Blocks now. CPT, I think, CPT is obviously like the leader for the SOAR model and the SOAR platform. Not necessarily doing equity, doing a debt agreement basically valued at the equity of the company is kind of how you could look at it. Not seeing any meaningful reaction. I wonder how Tom is thinking about this stuff, and if this is a sign that the debt agreements maybe aren't the answer. It's more equity. Watching CPT though, because I think we have other things pumping to fair value based on equity or above fair value in the case of Blocks. CPT is extremely cheap in terms of what their equity is worth. Right? What would this be? $8 million valuation for CPT? Which is just obscure, right? It's probably 10x higher than that, realistically, at least. So I wonder if they change this model to some sort of safe or equity SPV or whatever, if this would reprice. I would hope so, but I wonder why it's so suppressed. Maybe people are unaware. We need to get Tom's take on that, but I would say, seeing what's happening, watch CPT and just monitor this, because it's in the same ballpark. Gonna leave this up for Avi if he wants. You know, but I have a message up for him. If he doesn't join today, he can always join next week or whatever. But yeah. Any follow on thoughts? I agree, man. I would have loved 10% straight up Inklead. I mean, this would obviously would reprice instantly to like a 300 million equation. You know, 30 million on chain. I guess the idea is, can we get up to that 10%? Realistically, how realistic is it to get up to that 10% that Street will execute at the next price rounds? I think it's possible. In this market, it's really tough. I think they did, the numbers we did earlier at 150 million, I think are low. I think it had a lot more volume total from other places. So I think we're probably closer to like 200 to 300 million, if I had to guess, in lifetime volume. So we'll see. We'll see. Nonetheless, cool stuff. Anything else, Josh? I have nothing else to cover. Kind of just giving Avi some time.
Tomorrow we have a great schedule, by the way, guys. We have MetaLex to talk about all these ACE agreements. We have Printer Deployer from Printer Eco. It's the deployer token. It's the bot that deploys via X all the tokens. And then we have Spawn Agents, the actual team members. This time, I think last time we had the very outgoing Tommy Gerwit. I believe this is Tony Gerwit. But here we have the team on. So
banger.
Yeah, banger stream. I think I'm off tomorrow. It'll be Dom and Chill, I believe. But yeah, I mean that's it. And then when are we off to Consensus? So we still got another week.
Again, love to see you guys. Come on down. We'll have some merch for you if you're Crypto Jones.
We'll have very specific merch for very specific people. Crypto Jones, Top Fumbler, Top Fumbler, definitely. Crypto Jones, you're I think up here with me. I don't know if you're going down on the other side, North America, but yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think we also had who else was it? Ave is in Jacksonville. He should come down. We got merch for him.
Yeah, Ave, yo, come through, fam.
It's gonna be fun though. We got some great sponsors on the shirt this time. So excited.
Yeah, the shirt looks good. I'm not gonna lie, the shirt looks great. You know, it's think Red Bull Racing a little bit. I like it. I'm pretty excited for it.
There we go. All right, boys.
No Avi Patel.
No Avi.
It was a bit of a long shot, but you never.
Bit of a long shot. If he wants to come on tomorrow, we got 10 minutes for him always. People want to know. It would be interesting. So, all right, boys. I think that's it. Unless you guys have any last minute questions, words, whatever. We see the Printer Eco kind of taking a bit of a plunge today. As Josh gave the cautionary tale the other day.
Yes, I did. I actually I can't remember it. I'll have to go pick it up. I believe it was Tuesday. I mentioned that we're a bit into the crime season on Printer Eco, either Monday or Tuesday. And I said the easy money was made. And sure enough, we've seen some crimes since. And it's just, again, this is the kind of stuff that people got turned off from Pump, but we'll see how Printer kind of holds out. And yeah, so we'll see.
We'll see. Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be a really, really fun show. I'm excited for it. Great guests. So catch you guys.
As always, stay safe, guys. And yeah, don't not financial advice. Don't throw money at stuff that you're not sure about. So
great financial advice, Josh.
Make your own decisions. Anyways, see you guys.